Greetings and welcome. RR Man kicking it off with 25 bits, saying hi all, welcome back. Thank you so much. Good to have you. We got an all-star panel coming back today. It has been 2 years. It feels like 2 decades, but that's okay. My body has aged 1,000 years since the last show. But I am prepared now to bring RuneScape Weekly back, and I am excited for all of you, as you should be excited for yourselves. Your ears are being graced with some of the best talent RuneScape has to offer. Joining me today is the heavy hitter, the return of Pernasius, the return of RR Man, the return of Killer Bunny. We've got Cliff. We've also got other names who will hopefully be joining us throughout the day. I'm excited to bring us all back on the same page to discuss the one thing that we all love, RuneScape. Love is a strong word. Anyway, we have just spent the last hour debating what we want to include in this show, and mostly just bantering about life and whatnot, and RuneScape. So, let's be honest, RR Man did most of the work in the pre-show, helping me determine which topics are worth covering, because damn, it's been 2 years. There's a lot to cover. But we're gonna do it. I got all day. No one holds me to this mortal coil any longer. I am a free soul, so we're on my time again. So that means I can do the things I want to do, like producing RuneScape Weekly. So anyway, welcome back. We're in like that little segment before the show actually starts. This generally gets cut off for the podcast. Just a heads up. But yeah, we're going to go ahead, and unless anyone has anything they want to throw in right here, I will go ahead and just start the music. And I'm going to do a special intro, because if I do an intro where I just read what's on the show, it's going to be a long intro, and we're really going to test my ability to read things without frigging it up. Which also might be... Yeah?
You don't want a 25-minute intro.
I mean, gotta pad the show, right? But I also, at the same time, I know y'all, yours times is you all don't have as much time as I do. So I want to, make this doable for people without, reading a 25-minute intro. It'll be like when we used to do the shows on the TLDWs, and it'd be like, we'd have 2 hours of show, and then get up to the TLDW and be like, well, I guess we got another 2 hours of show to go.
Yeah, it's weird.
So I'm trying to avoid that. The new MageBit cares about people's bedtimes and stuff, and life obligations. So depending on where you are in the world, you're either half asleep or you've got shit to do. I get that. So anyway, I will kick this off. This is a new intro song. As with any time the show is rebooted or enters a new season, this is obviously a new season. You don't just go 2 years and then be like, all right, we're back in season 21. So obviously, new show, new coat of paint. This song is by Onus of I. That's Onus of I, as in I, me, my, you. You can find them over at Bandcamp, onusofi.bandcamp.com. And I really like this song. It spoke to me the first time I heard it, and I highly recommend checking out their work. It's pretty great. If you're into chiptunes, you'll probably dig this music. So anyway, here we go. 3, 2, 1. You're listening to RuneScape Weekly. I'm just getting some volume measures here. Generally I have VLC player to do my music, and that should be about right. Okay. I'm doing this in the web browser, and it's not as easy. Okay, 3, 2, 1. You're listening to RuneScape Weekly, Returned Edition, for 9/4/2021. I'm your host, MageBit, and joining me today is Pernasius, the RR Man, Killer Bunny, and more. Thank you so much for tuning into this edition of RuneScape Weekly. We've got a lot to go over. It's been over 2 years. happy scaping. Holy crap! MageBit here, and we're back. We're literally back, because we've been gone for over... I keep wanting to say over a decade, because damn it feels like it. But it's only been 2 years.
The boys are back in town.
They are. We're all here. There are more people who may be filing in and out later on in the day as time goes on, depending on how long it takes us to, plow through all this content here. Content is in bunny ears. But the thing is I've only been playing for a brief time. I came back in February, and Jagex abruptly decided... So they saw me log in, and they were like, you know what? We got to do something about this. Kill the servers. And I was again abruptly ejected from the game. That was almost when I rebooted. Yeah, it is. If I had
to take you out, and they took out a whole server.
They're like, I don't know if we have the technology, sir. Can we be so precise as to just assassinate one account? I don't care. Drop the nukes.
Melt it all.
Yeah, burn it all to the ground. Goddammit! I don't want him back on the airwaves. So that was Mod Warden, and they couldn't stop me because I decided to play a hardcore account, and found out that I actually enjoy the game more in Iron mode than I do in regular mode. And we can talk about that if people are interested, because I know most people here on the show right now have tried an Iron mode. They may even still play an Iron mode here and there. Some of us may have also realized that it's more like Rusty Man at this point. It's not really Iron. That's kind of why I threw in I gave myself a few stipulations. 1, no deaths. Like, not 1 death, not 2 deaths, no deaths. 2, I need to finish the game correctly. Like, I want to get all achievements. I want to get a trim comp cape, so that gives me something to work towards. And then also no cosmetics, so I can't hide the fact that I'm wearing shitty armor and just be like, look at me and my glowing awesomeness. I'm amazing. It's like, no, bitch, you're wearing fucking, like, adamant and carrying a dragon two-hander.
Do you even have like a comp cape on your main?
How dare you, sir!
You want to go for a trim comp on your Iron Man, but you haven't even got comp on main.
I knew I was going to get called out for this. Alright, so, it's true.
I was 1 second off.
It's true. It's true. My main achievement, no pun intended, is pretty much just max. It's like my main. I don't even have 120 in all skills technically, thanks to archaeology and rune crafting. So it's like, you know what? My main's actually garbage. Let's just be honest. It has no real accomplishments. But what makes it a little bit different on an Iron account, and I'm not saying this isn't going to take me literal years, but when you do something, it feels like an accomplishment. Whereas in RuneScape 3,
Definitely.
like the main game, you can buy most accomplishments. Or at the very least, you can like struggle your way through it by just overgearing yourself. And that's only true in an Iron mode, is if you've geared yourself to get to be overpowered. You can't buy overpowered things. It's like I have over 12 billion GP on my main. What am I? I could do anything I want on there, and all I care about is making money. Every time I play my main account, I get wrapped up in making GP. That gets boring really quickly. Whereas on my Iron account, all I care about is achievements, because that's all that's sitting in my way. I'm not distracted by how am I going to make the money to afford the rares, because rares are going up in price. And if I don't get in on that now, I'm never getting in on it. And anyway. So
just straight to trim comp.
Yeah, so I'm just like, let me just set the most unrealistic goal possible, and we'll go from there. Obviously, I'm not going directly for trim comp. It's my end goal for the account. I want to max.
I would love to see you just get the Taskmaster with all the tasks done.
Yeah.
So if you can do that, I reckon that'd be an accomplishment.
I think so too. Considering I'm afraid of the wilderness. I joined an Iron-only clan to try and get help with things like the wilderness and stuff. Like, I was going to do all the wilderness tasks that I could do on this most recent bonus XP weekend, but unfortunately, the beach burned me out. everyone knows that the reason why Iron isn't what it used to be is because they started letting accounts use limited time events that had OPXP. Like, let's be honest, even at 50% efficiency, I still was able to manage to get 75 construction, 75 dungeoneering, 75 hunter, all from just sitting there. And you can't do that during the week. Only on the weekends can you do that. So, you know, from Friday to Sunday, I'm spending, I almost said 20 hours a day. I'm spending at least 15 hours a day sitting at the beach, wasting my life. Thanks to mobile, at least I can get up and go to the bathroom. Good?
That's halfway to trim. Sorry, I can't get out.
I hate you.
I thought they broke it the first time because I was sitting up and just at 1 a.m. It was sort of get the that sort of happy hour type thing. And it didn't shut down, so I'm sitting, they forgot to turn off happy hour. So I'm sitting up till 3:30 a.m. and I'm thinking, they still haven't turned it off. I'm exhausted. And then I'm sitting there and I said, they still haven't turned it off, and go, no, it's on for the whole weekend. And someone told me that, and I said, I sat up all that time thinking, I'm getting all this great XP, and no, I could have just gone to bed and got up at normal time the next morning.
Yeah, I did something kind of similar, only I finished the bar, completely disregarded the fact that I was getting more XP, said goodbye to everyone in public chat, and then went to the farm to work on my farm. And then I got a PM from some random person, not on my friends list, and they asked me if I had left the beach. And I'm like, yeah, I can go back if you need something. And they're like, no, I just wanted you to know that you don't have to leave. Like, even Iron accounts can just play infinitely on the weekend. I didn't know that. I figured that would be OP, kind of broken.
Well, it is. But, yeah.
But once I found that out, I missed the first weekend of that. But this, other 3 weeks, I spent, again, like probably 60 hours throughout all the weekends. Or some bullshit, because I managed to get almost all of the level requirements for Prifdinus. So that's a thing. But yeah, if anyone wants to contact me in game, MageBit's probably not online right now. It's probably my alt, which is MageBite. So if you are looking to say something to me, that's what you can do. But yeah, anyone else have anything they want to bring up in the beginning of the show before we jump into the ketchup segment, which is literally just me pouring ketchup all over myself on webcam for like an hour and a half?
Don't get it on the keyboard.
This is Cliff. I'm on the line now, and I just wanted to say the one shift from the beach, though, that's made it a little less OP. You used to be able to get the Dungeoneering pet from the Dungeoneering hole, so that's actually how I unlocked it in the first place, the very first beach event I joined.
That is so lucky, because I mean...
Get off that day.
I was going to say, everyone hates Dungeoneering, so that's really lucky, but everyone is me. I don't know if everyone hates Dungeoneering as much as I do, but... I mean, they did add the Dungeoneering hole, so I can't be alone. So that's crazy. I didn't know you could actually get the pet the first year.
I think it was only the first time the Dungeoneering hole was at the beach, and then they nuked that. But, we'll take it.
I remember that Halloween event that they had back in, I don't know, maybe like 2016, 17, where you could get the pet from the event, but you could only train at the event for like 15 minutes a day, so it was like... The rolls were so low, the likelihood of you getting it was just not really available for most people. I certainly didn't get anything. But I was so jealous of everyone who got pets at that event, because for some reason my pet RNG is just shit. I remember how fast when we did that race to the Master of All, you were done in like a week, and I was still struggling with the Dungeoneering pet.
It's a bit longer than a week.
It was a week. That's what my memory tells me. It is infallible.
I want them to get female versions of the pet, or master versions of the pet out.
That'd be
now.
cool.
If you've got it, you can go for another, a master.
I would love that. The more pets in the game, the better. Anything that allows you to express yourself in a slightly different way than somebody else, I think is a big boon for the game, because that's all that most people can get these days, as far as character customization goes, is cosmetic.
The thing is, I mean, let's admit, I mean, most of the skills are, I mean, they're pretty worthless for a lot of things. So that RNG for the pet makes that grind worth it.
Yeah.
Like, you cut magic logs now, and they're 300 GP each. It's not worth it. It's
right.
There's nothing that's really worth skilling in the game, other than archaeology. Herblore, of course. The potions are useful and things, but a lot of the skills aren't really useful in the game because, no one gets you to smith their gear because all the gear is dropped, and you don't buy food anymore really because there's so much stuff in there to stop you from needing to eat. So, it just, having those pets gives you a goal to grind for.
Yeah, it definitely does. In chat, someone just brought up Taskman mode. Has anyone ever tried Taskman? I think it's a website that you use to help you.
Have.
What do you think about it? Because I haven't tried it.
I think it's wonderful, first of all. So the full name is Taskmaniacs, and it's taskman.rs is the website if anyone wants to check it out. But essentially the concept is you are bound by a list of tasks. And a lot of these tasks are related to achievements. It might be related to unlocking certain gear or things. And some of them are just kind of fun little hidden things within RuneScape that encourages you to experience. But the tasks are all organized into different tiers based on what your relative level should be. So starting with like beginner, easy, medium, etc. And the idea is you create a brand new Iron Man and you roll for a task. And you get a random task out of the, 120 or so at your tier. And that is all you're allowed to complete.
Okay.
Oops, sorry, dropped my press to talk. That's all you're allowed to complete. You have to complete it with the gear and unlocks that you currently have, so it can make things like bossing more challenging because you don't have optimal gear.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have a high score leaderboard that is based on time per task, which is really cool for somebody like me who doesn't play a ton, because I'm never going to be on the leaderboard for who's made the most progress as far as completing like percentage of total tasks, but I can still compete on like who's doing it efficiently, which is pretty cool.
How do they keep people honest with time submissions for that?
It is largely honor system.
Okay.
So that goes for following the rules as well. But generally, every time you are turning in a task and saying you're complete, you just check what's your total in-game time. Using a website, and you keep it up to date that way. So they can see how often you're entering it and things like that. And they check for some level of ridiculousness.
That's good. That's cool. I mean, I love the idea of like speedrun tactics and stuff. I've been wanting to get into speedrunning video games for a long time. I just don't have the hardware that a lot of the websites want you to have in order to actually submit times to. But that's an interesting way of taking care of that, is just loosely moderating it, especially I guess when there's no real stakes involved. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, that's a pride thing.
It sounds like good.
I think the other thing I'd mentioned, what really made it cool for me, and I, to be fair, I haven't played this mode in about a year, but I did it a lot during the first 6 months of the pandemic when I had a ton of downtime. But the thing that was really cool is how much life it gave to content that I've literally never otherwise had a need to play. Just entire sections of the game at low level content and medium level content that you just sort of breeze on by and go on to more efficient things, even as an Iron Man to an extent. And it really just sort of forces that completionist mindset in a way that brought a lot of life to the game.
That's cool. I'm going to have to give it an actual try. I think I looked at it when I was like really low level Iron Man, and the things that it was asking me to do were just, there was a lot of like stuff that I would have struggled with really badly in the early game, but now that I'm kind of more of a mid-level character, it probably would have a lot more of an effect on my account, as far as like, I was really afraid to die in the beginning. Now I'm not so much afraid to die, so that's good. I'll have to investigate that. I'm going to be doing more videos where I just do content like quests and tasks and stuff, so it's possible we might do a few episodes where Taskman is the theme of the episode.
Yeah, and they actually have 2 leaderboards, one for like true Ironmans who created it, the count brand new for that purpose. That's kind of the intention. But then they also have like I forget what it's called, but essentially mains or existing Ironmen, or people who are like playing the way they want to, but then want to go ahead and like complete the tasks anyway, just for fun. So you could definitely join up and just see what some of the tasks are like.
Cool beans. I'm gonna have to give that a go for sure, because most of my episodes are very like, here's one goal to complete, and then by the end of it, I kind of hate myself. Yeah, exactly. if you just pick one goal, and it'll be like brew a mature dragon's whatever in your player-owned house, and I'll be like, all right, well now I have a list of like 8 things to even get to there, so I can actually even build the thing, and then I just immediately am like turned off by stuff like that. But now that I've got a lot more levels available to me, and I've done more quests, so things are not as hard. It's not as hard to move around the world. It's not as hard to obtain niche items. Like there was something I was trying to make. And I think it was like hunting gear to make it easier to try and get chins or something, and I was missing some item that like I had to catch like a bunch of things to even get, and I was just like, forget it. So maybe I'm not the best personality to go after tedious, mind-numbing content, but I'm gonna give it a go just because it still feels way more rewarding than just logging in to kill like abyssal demons for money. Like that just feels like a job. Anyway, anything anyone else wants to bring up before we jump into the rundown here? Am I missing any critical points that I said I would talk about in the pre-show, in the beginning of the show? Can't think of anything immediately. I'm sure I'm missing something, but I want to keep things moving along. If anyone thinks of anything, we can always interrupt the show and bring it on. So,
like the good old days.
Yeah, exactly. I loved how the iTunes reviews were always split on that. It'd be like 5 stars. This person just rambles on about everything. It's great. 1 star. This person can't stay on topic for more than 5 seconds. It's like, yeah. That's pretty much RuneScape Weekly. You either love the rabbit hole or you hate it. Anyway, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 30, 40, about 40 updates, maybe 50-ish, to cover here in quick succession, and kind of just stopping and chatting about each one along the way. We did cover Archaeology prior, but I think, as I had mentioned before, I wasn't really on the show. A lot of things have changed since then, so I figured my opinion actually on Archaeology may have changed since then as well. Considering I was like on the verge of going on a 2-year hiatus, a lot of my opinion has changed. So let's see here. I'll read this one. It says, game update, the new Archaeology skill is here. This is from the 30th of March, and that's in 2020. So we're going back a couple of years here, or a year and a half-ish. I don't know. It says
feels like a decade.
It does. I don't know why. I feel like I've been like resurrected from like an ancient tomb or something. It's the moment you've been waiting for. Archaeology is here, and it's ready to play right now. But before you grab your Matic and set off to lands unknown, we've got some important information for shovel bums everywhere. So it says here, just to get started with Archaeology, you'll need to make your way to the Archaeology Guild for some on-the-spot training. After that, you can roll out to Karid-Et, where Dr. Nabnek has important tasks for you. You'll need a significant amount of archaeological acumen to fully explore all 5 dig sites, so don't worry about moving on to the next big dig. You'll be back later, armed with new knowledge to uncover even more treasure. Here are some of the unlocks you can look forward to each level. So then it plows through a quick little table and shows you the dig sites. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them on release. No, 8 of them. I think there's maybe even 7 of them on release. Warforged, Stormguard Citadel, Everlight, Infernal Source, and Karid-Et. That's 3, 4, 5 of them. Ancient Summoning Binding Contracts were another thing that they released as well. It goes without saying that at every level you'll unlock new artifacts, new relics, and new things to do, but there'll be no spoilers in this news post. Don't worry, that's what we're here for. This news post is lying to you. That being said, we have compiled a list of everything we've uncovered so far. So, Archaeology. There is many uses for Archaeology. I personally see Archaeology as all the ideas that they wanted to incorporate into Invention but ran out of space, so they refitted them, attached them to relics, and told you to dig for them in dirt. That's my take on Archaeology. Would anyone else like to take over from here before I continue reading and give their take on Archaeology?
Archaeology, Slayer's always been my favourite skill. Archaeology took that over as my number 1 skill.
Really?
Simply because, Yep,
Wow.
simply because of the lore. I mean, that so much lore that they put into it. It was a really well thought out skill. You don't just, you don't work Keredet, you don't do that for a few hours, then go to Infernal Source, and then go whatever. You're bouncing backwards and forwards because there was different levels all the way through. So, you do 2 or 3 levels at Keredet, then Infernal Source open, so you go and do a few there, then Everlight, then back to Keredet. It had you going backwards and forwards. There was a ton of lore in it, and everyone knows. I mean, I love my quests, I love my lore in the game, and it really had a lot of lore, and you could just float straight through and do everything and unlock it and hit your 120, no worries at all. But for players like me who really wanted to explore the skill, there were a lot of those, little things of the books and, little tasks, little quests and such. Some of them were just little fetch quests, some of them were just find a lore book, but there were other things where you had to sort of do puzzles and such to unlock it. And I really thought, this is a true skill. This is a skill that really had me interested. And I hit 200 mil, and basically, Archaeology is what made me log in on my old Iron Man account again and start working because, I loved Archaeology so much. I'm working through it again. I'm already up to, I'm already up to 89 Archaeology on my Iron Man account. Or ex-Iron Man account.
Funny,
now,
it's my lowest skill on my Iron Man right now. It's not a bad skill. Let me just stick that back in there. But it is, and I agree with most of what you're saying. Like, the lore is fantastic. The areas that they've placed into the game to feed you that lore is fantastic. I mean, the graphics are great. The skill itself fits into RuneScape. I digress. I want to hear other opinions before I continue on with my ramblings. Does anyone else want to give their arc opinions?
Yeah, this is Cliff. I gotta agree that Archaeology has grabbed the #1 spot as my favorite skill. I think it's really beautiful. I think none of the individual pieces of the skill are super complex, but the way that they all weave together just gives enough variety that it just constantly felt engaging without being a slog. And I've always been a bit more of an AFK skiller myself, so I like gathering skills. This was like right in the niche of the stuff I enjoy. But I think like taking a look at what made this stand out as super engaging to me, I also really like the sort of meta of the skill. In that, fundamentally RuneScape at its core is a game about like setting a goal, working towards that goal, and achieving the goal, right? Lots of little wins as you achieve your goals, and that's what keeps you playing. And that is what Archaeology is full of, right? You are looking at collection logs, you are looking at mysteries, you are looking at research, and you're constantly making plans on where do I go next to hit my next goal. And that just really made it feel full of content, 1 to 120, even though obviously the core content, the core skilling loop is not actually that varied. And I think my biggest criticism was actually levels like probably 60s to 80s felt more empty. Like I was just kind of sitting in one place for a long period of time. And now that they have filled more of that space with Centistan, which I'm sure we'll get to eventually, some of these other like mid-level dig sites, I bet it wouldn't even have some of those same rough patches with another playthrough. So, big fan on my end.
Okay, that's fair. Anyone else, or I can interject if there are any.
Unfortunately, like a lot of other people, when it came out, this is KB, by the way. I just came out and did it as fast as possible, hitting every achievement, having everything, and Archaeology just went by so fast. I think I did it in like 2.5 months or something, or whatever speed thing was, but that's pretty much all Archaeology was for me. It's just how fast can I get this done?
Wow, that's impressive. I've noticed you oftentimes are finished with yak tracks in like 24 hours. So that doesn't 100% surprise me, but that's also impressive to complete it that quickly. I mean, I am not even 120, not that I've been trying very hard, but I did put a lot of time into the skill on my main, and I was surprised at how sustained the XP was at lower levels. Like, it's pretty slow until like, I think it's like 115 or 110 or something. At least that's what people tell me. I think I am around 110-ish, maybe not. I could be totally misremembering that. Thank you very much, by the way, to Fintum for the Twitch subscription. Appreciate that.
It's a hard skill to get bored of, really.
I suppose.
It's great. always moving around. I just love it. You know,
I
always
love-
something different to do.
I love
Always a
that
different way to
aspect
do
of
things.
it.
Yeah.
What I don't appreciate is what it did to my bank. Did anyone else have issues with bank space after archaeology? Like,
Definitely, and that was one of the things I said should have been an unlock or a reward from something where we could have a bag, even if there was one for each dig site to hold the damaged artifacts.
yeah, that's the problem. Is
because,
the damaged
yeah.
ones, right?
Mm.
To know which ones to keep and which ones you'll need later.
Yeah.
You have to sort of
Yeah.
work it all out. It needs you need like a shelf or like another box where you can just put them in. It would actually be great.
One thing I really liked was the fact that, like, okay, you have like beginner level dig site here, but to like finish up on that same dig site, you had to advanced levels, but those levels weren't at that dig site, forcing you into, you know, some diversity as far as where you're training. That was great. But what that also did was leave a bunch of relics from the previous dig site that I wasn't sure if I would need more of, and then on top of that, pile more relics from a new dig site, and then once I finished that dig site, send me to another dig site, and now I've got relics from 3 dig sites going, and it's like, I'm trying to complete collection logs here, so I'm like, I don't know if there's going to be another log that needs this, or, like, I don't have the components necessary to, or the materials necessary to restore everything. So it's like, okay, I'm going to bank this until I have the materials that I need so I can then go ahead and get maximum XP from it. But then it's like, okay, if you go and collect those materials, you're also getting new artifacts, so you can never have enough materials. Like, you just can't, like, unless you purchase them. Then I feel like they did that on purpose.
Or if you had to go and actually do the outside sites.
Oh,
where
right, the material
only best
caches.
Materials had to, which was, and that was another thing that was great, because you could go and buy it. You could sit there and make a ton of money just by doing material caches, or you could play it. I mean, the way I Iron Manned it all the way through, I never bought a single
Same.
a single material. I'd go to the God Wars dungeon or wherever it was to collect the actual materials. That's what I really loved about it. There was something for everyone in it. Money makers, Iron Man type players without being Iron Man, or people who just wanted to rush it.
Yeah. It's always good to have the option to purchase things if you're playing a non-Iron account. I think it stimulates the economy when materials are sellable. I generally think having things for sale in most situations makes it a little bit more fair for skillers, I think, is the main thing. It gives them an opportunity to make money. Go ahead.
That was one of the best things they did as well. The like the time-worn components and clockwork components and such that you gained. You could box those up and sell them in lots of 1,000 on the GE, where you can't do that with other components from Invention. And I think if they sort of carried that across, where someone who's making a ton of money wants to break down some Nox items. Someone's just camping your Araxor, and they just want to break down those things and sell those Nox components and such. They should be able to do that. Someone's gotten lucky that they've got their Brooch of the Gods and they've picked up a bunch of components they don't need. They should be able to sell those in pack the way they did that. And I thought they did that correctly with what they introduced with Archaeology, that they sort of still haven't sort of fixed in Invention itself.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think our Invention could benefit from a lot of it's almost, and again, this is why it makes me feel like it's kind of like or Invention 2.0, so much for the fact that I often call Archaeology Invention, which isn't fair because it's got plenty of its own mechanics that are unique and whatnot. But the whole perk system just feels very Invention based to me. And I mean, they could have done something different. I think that was my biggest complaint from Archaeology, is the rewards just feel like stuff you could do with Invention. That being said, they did give it a unique way to, power the rewards that, again, was a money sink, and, it gave more value to Divine Energy, which is another thing. Go ahead. I'm sorry?
I said for a little while.
For a little while, got you.
For a little while.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Then they did Divination Update and they killed
ruined
them.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I don't know if we have the Divination Update anywhere in here, but I was when we get to that, we'll get to it for sure, because that update was both really cool and also really bad at the same time. Like, it makes things easier, but it also, like,
Oh,
if that was a money-making
Take it.
method, yeah.
I did 40 odd million divination XP in a month, or in 14 days actually, and that wasn't doing the caches at all. That was just sitting at incandescence and collecting it.
Were you using World 79?
Yeah.
Because, like, yeah, the fact that there's
Yeah.
now an enriched wisp every 30 seconds makes it kind of a different
Yeah.
experience.
When I was doing it, there wasn't even a 30-second break.
Yeah.
You finished one, the next one was popping up.
Yeah. During hot times, like during the peak game hours, it was like that for me too.
I expected it to die down. It's just incredible that there's so many people there when you jump on that world. It's
Yep.
nuts.
I want to raise a conspiracy theory because it involves
okay.
me. But my account being yeeted into the sun, I had almost 1,000 chronicles saved up in my bank. When they broke my account, I noticed the day before all of my chronicles were gone, and all of a sudden I was collecting a fresh stack. And I don't want to say that this is a conspiracy against my massive chronicle collection, but this is a conspiracy against my giant chronicle collection to keep me from being the kingpin of chronicles. And
I had over 600, and mine was still there.
yeah, I had like 7 something, and mine were not. They were, so I know that this was not intentional. I'm pretty sure what happened was Jagex was not completely honest about when the server issues started, and the day before, I think that server was unstable because I think it was already corrupting save game data. Because one of the few items that I modified on my account pre-crash was collecting chronicles. So instead of adding a new chronicle to my stack when I collected one at divination, it deleted my entire chronicle stack and was like, hey, here's your first chronicle. And I was like, this seems a little weird. And then a day later, my account was gone. Now, Jagex has already said they won't do anything about that. So I just haven't bothered. So instead, I've twisted it into a conspiracy against, myself.
So you were patient zero then.
I was patient. I was literally the account that broke the server. I was the straw that collapsed the server. I collected a chronicle. Guthix was like, balance must be restored. Destroy everything. And that was that. And we had to wait another couple weeks or month, depending on how bad it was. And I will never again collect chronicles or play my main because it's cursed. Anyway, I digress. But all my chronicles are gone, and it sucks because now chronicles are like the way to train the game. And when it originally happened, I was like, "Bah, it's just a collection. I don't care. I can collect it again." But now I'm like, I was robbed. I was robbed of so much experience. Anyway, that is the new archaeology skill. It's here. There's actually already more dig sites now. We have Northen dig site and a Centistan dig site.
Centistan released the other month. Yep.
So I've used the Orthen dig site, not completely. I've used 2 of the sites. I like it because it makes money. The other ones don't make as much money, it seems. I have not tried Centistan. I assume most of you have tried Centistan. So if anyone wants to give,
Centistan's brilliant.
Tell me about it.
You have to go through the little mini quest to get into it, open it all up. But yeah, it's just, again, you're bouncing from one area to another area to another area. I think there was 6 different dig sites in there. One is near the Noden, so you have to be careful when you go in there. But that's what your Shard of Ma does. It stops them from attacking you. And again, books and everything, and little mysteries you have to solve and such to be able to do things, go and find different items and such. And again, it's very entertaining. It's not just go camp there, put on your TV and just sit there for 25 hours and get everything. Okay, I've done this one. I'll pop that there.
How big is Centistan?
Centistan's big, and it's not fully open yet either.
Okay.
Centistan would be at least the size of Prifdinus.
Oh, okay. Which is
at least
bigger than Varric, I think, or around the size of Varric.
Yeah. Again, its own separate map and such. So
yeah,
really, really fun. Highly recommend it.
you don't actually have to do the mini quest. I haven't done the Citizen quest yet, but
Okay.
you could use, at the time Carapac was up, so his portal led you to one side of the location, so you could actually use that. And also, if you go to the Archaeology guild, there's a map there, and if you use that to teleport to the main guy for the Citizen guild, or for the Citizen area. And I think the whole thing took me like 8 hours and 30 minutes to complete the entire thing, plus get all the
Very precise.
Wow. So how long was it? Do you know how long the average? And do you know how long the average person takes? Just because
double that.
Oh, I don't know.
Double
I can imagine it takes a lot longer.
Okay.
Because I played dive and search between places.
Okay. So it's big.
I would tell anyone who's doing it, use Wiki as a guide, because I'm 200 mil in archaeology, so for me it's just basically going back to get my master quest cape back. Now, certain pages you need to do little tasks before they'll actually drop. So I spent about 25 hours there before I'm sitting. My luck is shit on this bloody last page, and so I know you've got to go and do this. And then bang, go and do that, and 5 minutes later the page drops. So, and that's the beauty of it. There are little tasks and all that you have to do on certain things to unlock some of the lore drops and things, which helps make it interesting and just keep that keeps that boredom away from it.
Also, the lore hound works too. So if you pull that out, it
Lore
helps
hound's brilliant. Faster. Yes.
What does the lore hound do? Does it help with drop rates or something?
Yeah, it helps with drop rates for like pages. A couple other things as well. Like I think it helps out at like King Black Dragon and stuff. It's a little dog that you get from completing like 50 quests. You get one roll or something like that. It's right outside of the Varrock thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think I unlocked the Lorehound. I went with a different path because of some stupid reason that probably is not a really good reason. But okay, I'm interested in Sintistan. I definitely want to see it. I've just been I think it came out while I was on my little burnt out break from the beach, so if I can get there. I might not be able to get in with my iron account though. I might have to go with my main account just because archaeology level on my iron is only like level 40. So
I think you can also just walk in with no requirements, because I also tried it for the first time this week. There's a ancient door in the northwest corner of like the Varrock dig site, the old school dig site.
Okay. I'll check that out, and I'll immediately go in and get I guess this would be the next question I ask. Can you die? You mentioned something about the Nodiner there, so I assume that it's somewhat dangerous.
In one area, as you're running through, the Nodin can get you.
Okay.
Other than that, no. But if you've got the Shard of Mar from the Mar quest, you'll have no issues.
Gotcha. Okay.
And again, if you run through and they start attacking you, just run right up to the top corner, hide up there for a minute until they lose interest, then come down, and then they won't bother you. It's just when you're running to the spot that you have the issue.
Gotcha. Okay. Anything else anyone want to... Go ahead. Yeah?
You can also attune your... I think you could also tune your Max Guild portal to Carapac. That way you have a teleport that takes you outside the Nodars. Then you just kind of hug the wall. There is a small section where you have to run through, but it's a minor one. So if you use that to get there and then use the archaeology map table to get to the other side, you shouldn't have any problems.
Okay. That's good to know. Anything anyone else wants to bring up on the launch of archaeology or their personal archaeology stories? Now would be the time.
Yeah, I guess just one other element, not necessarily specific to archaeology, but this was the first new skill launch that I have been a part of in, let's say, modern RuneScape. So maybe my last one where I was still playing was like summoning. And it was super cool to see the race. Like, I just loved playing RuneScape at this time, especially now that, Twitch has only increased in popularity, probably over time, where it was just very cool to watch top streamers battling over this and just large groups of people, 4 times the normal amounts, sometimes just sitting there, giving tips, trying to figure out the skill together. It was very cool.
Yeah, that's what I love about RuneScape. It's obviously evolved over the decades, but like community just trying to figure stuff out was the best. Like back in RuneScape Classic, a new quest would drop and there were no quest guides because TipIt was like the only website and I didn't even know it existed, and we would just come together as a community and just take stabs at stuff in the dark and share information, just sitting in public chat, just wherever the quest like start location was, or you get stuck on a part of a quest and you just sit there and go, what do I do with this? What do I do with this? What do I do with this? Until someone will finally be like, put it in this hole over here. Shut up. Those were the days. I loved those days. Anyway. Anything else anyone want to bring up? Otherwise, I can talk about some player advocacy. Okay.
One player advocacy.
Says here, introducing player advocacy groups. This was on April 2nd. They missed it by 1 day. They were so close. It says here, we value the insights of every one of our players. It's what the foundation of RuneScape is built on. That's how you know this was an April Fool's joke. And while we've always worked together with our fantastic community, our development team are looking to make even better use of the deep knowledge, insights, and perspective offered by our most committed players. We'll see about that. To do this, we're forming expert player feedback teams called Player Advocacy Groups, or PAGs for short. We're calling this process for forming a PAG Champions of Charters, or PAG CACs. And here's how it works. Choose a goal. Our developers choose an area which could benefit from PAG feedback. Find a champion. A champion is a player with real expertise in the topic. Just keep rubbing the fucking salt in the wound, Jagex. However, being a champion is about more than just knowing the game. We'll also be looking for people with great communication skills who have the trust of the RuneScape community. These are the brave souls who lead our PAGs and take some of our responsibility of making RuneScape the best it can be. Define a charter. Man, this really sounds like idealistic.
They put a lot of effort into it.
Yeah, like it sounds like something that came out of like a community building meeting where they're like, how can we make everyone get along? And I don't know, it seems like really fake community building efforts is what it feels like to me. And I'll explain why as we move on here. But define a charter. One of the problems is there's like 800 steps. When you break it down like this, it generally never goes anywhere. Just give clans the ability to like do community events and whatnot. Like, why do you have to make it about? Anytime you raise a specific group of players above the rest, there's a good chance things aren't going to end well. The developers and the champion will work together to form an agreement or a charter that outlines the goals, expectations, and responsibilities. We realize this sounds quite serious, but with good reason, the champion will then be contracted as a consultant to Jagex for the duration of PAG. So I was just about to say, like, you're making this sound like a job. So, like, if you're expecting volunteers to do this, it's probably also not going to work. But it sounds like they were going to pay the PAGs. So that's
pay them, but they all have to sign an NDA.
Okay, that's ridiculous.
No money changed hands, but I think I think there was something that they did. I think they were all flown out to Jagex, but I don't think they actually paid any money.
I'll put myself on record here saying that I'll sign an NDA, but I'll break it too. Come at me. What are you going to do, extradite me to the UK? Like, I don't think that your laws in the UK are easily enforceable, thousands of miles across the sea.
They'll send these, let's pay the CIA to send in one of their Black Ops to take you out.
Listen, we've shut down that entire island before. We can do it again.
Yeah.
So anyway, new PAGs and their charters will be revealed to the community, and the champions will begin recruiting their teams. These PAG members will be volunteers selected by the champion, and while having fewer obligations, will be vital in helping the champions and developers do their best work. Okay, so it's the charters that get fucked over then. They're the ones that don't get to make any money, it sounds like. Anyway, then it begins in step 5. The PAG then gets to work. Note that group membership can be altered at any time by the champion, and when there's appropriate justification, rather. So the group membership can be altered. So it means they can kick people out or invite people in as they see fit, I guess.
Yep.
Okay. And then retrospectives. Once a PAG is complete, we'll work with the champion and team to provide an account of the experience, and results will be shared with everyone. Over the course of this month, we'll be launching PAGs for RuneScape and Old School RuneScape, and we're happy to announce our very first and last. This was a PAG for Ninja Team Recon. This group's mission will be to help the Ninja Team root out all the little ways in which Gielinor could be made even better. Okay, so you've already failed. You've already picked a task so monumentally large and general that how could you succeed in that? There is an infinite... Go ahead.
I think they come up with 24 top ideas that they wanted. I mean, they had so many, but they took their top 24. I think of the top 24, I think there was about 14 that were combat, and the other half was sort of between skilling and questing, sort of new player feel. But the majority that they come up with was all sort of fixing combat things that they didn't like.
Combat.
Which, again, seeing who
Makes sense with
who led...
guy,
Yeah.
who was, yeah.
I was going to say, if the leader was the RS guy, it would make sense for combat to be the main focus. And it was not that there couldn't have been a skilling PAG, but it just, this is not a bad idea on paper. But this is like how class president goes in every elementary school. Like, you put...
Guy, yeah. I mean, Ryan's a great guy.
I love Ryan.
I love Ryan. He is very good for the game, and I mean, I thought he was great for the first champion that they had. And let's also remember this sort of happened right when sort of the pandemic hit. So whether they just decided to cancel advocacy groups because of that, they can't really get together, and that's been dragging on and on. But
right.
This was the only one that was very heavily combat focused, and it didn't. When it all come out, it didn't interest me at all with what they were coming out with. It's like, hey, whatever.
I agree that if you need to fly people out to Jagex HQ for them to be a part of this, then, yeah, it's probably not the time or place to do this. I would not get on an airplane for any amount of time right now. Just forget the fact that airlines are a nightmare to begin with. They're like, they'll basically just shoot you for, like, standing up when, like, the no seatbelt sign is on, so forget that. Not getting on an airplane for, like, any reason. So I wouldn't go to RuneFest even if you paid me at this point. Not because I don't want to, just because it's on the wrong continent. I had to take a boat, charter a boat from friggin' Boston Harbor. Well, like, if RuneFest is in October, I'll leave in, like, August. And, they'll open up the shipping container that I stowed away in, and there'll just be a dead body in there. Anyway, that's player advocacy groups. An idea that on paper sounds cool, but it also reminds me of their many other failed projects like Rune Labs and stuff like that, where it's just you're asking. Yeah, that gave us so much good content. At least bags. I loved when Zenel made us that deep AI. Like
the memories.
We took all the data out of Rune Labs and made the perfect suggestion. That was my favorite. So. Update on player advocacy groups here. This is the retrospective, I think, from the first player advocacy group. And it says here, it's been over 6 months since the completion of our first player advocacy project. Everyone is dead. The game is in ruins. It says, so we wanted to give you a deeper look at the fantastic work done by our PAG and the changes that have been inspired, plus talk about the future of the program. For those of you who haven't heard about PAGs, you can read it here. Or you can rewind 30 seconds. In short, our development team is making even better use of the deep knowledge, insights, and perspective offered by our most committed adventurers by performing expert PAGs. Is that something different? Is expert PAGs just like advanced PAGs?
Maybe they were the ones that, workers... employees of the game at Jagex. I don't know.
Our first PAG's mission was to help Jagex root out all the little ways in which our ninja team could make life in Gielinor a little bit better. We called on the well-known player, the RS guy, to be our PAG champion and lead the group. Over the course of a month, this PAG made 336 submissions for possible changes, 328 of which were accepted. That sounds actually fairly successful. I mean... They'll be successful once at least 300 of them have been actually implemented into the game, and they're not just a list sitting on someone's desk somewhere. These... Go ahead.
Good point.
Otherwise, they're just suggestions. These were either taken by the Ninja team directly or forwarded to other internal dev teams for review. In total, the PAG members put in an incredible 400-plus man-hours of work, all of which was split across 5 meetings with developers and countless time gathering community feedback. You can check out the redacted meeting minutes from the Jagex meetings, and there's a link there. We're not going to do that. It might be interesting at some point to do that.
They gave a few things, but the majority are sort of redacted. You can't see what they suggested.
Ah, gotcha. That's why it says redacted meeting minutes. I thought they were just trying to be like top secret fancy, using words, just using fancy words. You would think that there might actually be giant black bars across the document. Maybe they're as competent as our government, and it's really just black. I don't know if you heard about this, but one of our agencies released a highly classified document like a few years ago, and it was all they did was use the words highlight feature to put a black highlight over the black text. So all you had to do was change the font to white, and you could read everything that was redacted. I think that's hilarious.
Oh, wow.
Anyway.
Yes, our government here did that, and basically on every page there was about 4 words they left unredacted.
I love that.
And that was basically all was left undone.
Oh yeah, we do that all the time when because there's something called freedom of information. So anyone can request anything you want, but the likelihood of the document being readable is like pretty much zero. Anyway, so what change did they inspire? Several of the most achievable ideas were picked up immediately for development, but they were only a small fraction of the PAG-driven changes that have made it into the game over the course of 6 months. The PAG suggested or inspired as a whole host of changes that included combat achievements, combat tooltips, and a Acrodia remote totem. Remote totem.
Yeah, that was about the only good thing that they sort of come in with there. So
with
your 3 totems you had on Anachronia to do the different things. There's one basically where you where you sort of teleport in now. There's a remote totem there where you do that one, it just charges up all 3 at once.
Okay, all right.
So you don't have to run to them all.
That's good because Anachronia is a pain in the ass to get around.
Oh yeah.
Grace tab in achievements. Interface. I don't know what that means. Is that where they just tell me all the slack they've given me?
No. Basically, like there's a grace period, so you won't lose your Master Quest cape for
tells
6
you what's
months.
on grace.
You've got exactly.
That's actually pretty good for people who want to maintain their capes. Route teleports and improvements. That will be great for I tell you what, to get to Route as an Iron Man with no real achievement completion. Getting to Route means I have to first teleport to Ardoin, then I got to go up in the building, and then click on the tree roots, which are sometimes not correctly clickboxed, and then to get out, if I want to end up in the right place, I have to re-teleport back, because walking all the way back to the roots to teleport you there, they're not in a friendly place, and so I digress. It's just I would look forward to that one. Adrenaline and power burst potion cooldowns. I don't know what they're referring to, but I do know that I love power burst potions in general. War Priest armor drop rates. Has that already happened?
I can't remember why, but that was fucking dodgy.
These have all happened
for themselves.
But yeah, the ones I've got listed here are all the ones they did.
Okay.
They did.
I heard something about War Priest drop rate that you could kind of fudge it by wearing certain things or not doing something, and it made the drop rate better. Someone told me, and now I don't remember. So if that clicks in anyone's head, feel free to drop that little tidbit of information. But I remember them saying,
I feel like they made it out like it was really good, so everyone could get it, but it was actually just so the combat people could break it down. Was that how it worked? It pissed me off at the time.
Yep.
Yeah,
it was for the combat because they were complaining about breaking down Armadil's stuff.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah, they're a good source of God components for sure, and now apparently they're easier to get. And if you don't have something unlocked or something's turned off, it's actually even easier to get for noobs. And I don't remember what that is. So that frustrates me, but
Yeah, there is some reward from a previous world event that, like, if you had participated, you had an increased drop rate. And
Yeah.
as somebody who played after that event, I appreciated this one because I don't have most of the War Priest gear, and it made it so, you know, I don't have to spend
That-
3 times as long.
So those War Priest sets came out with World Event number 2, so my guess is that it probably was from 2. That was my favorite World Event.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They did a good... Well, here's the thing. The Bandos armor was from World Event 2, right? The... Isn't there also... there's Zamorak armor, Bandos armor, Armadillo... Like, some of them I think might be from something else. Sarah Dahlman I thought was from the first World Event, but I could be wrong.
4 War Priest armors, yeah.
Right. Some of them I might have been from the other
But
event.
I thought the extra drop rate come from the Tusker event, I thought.
Fair.
The drop rate. But yeah.
I liked the
Which you could
Tusker.
still do.
Don't quote
maybe.
me on that, though.
Do you think they're ever going to get rid of the Tuska's corpse? Do you think that'll ever change? I mean, I know that like there's still mini games on it, but they've made that whole event was rigged. Yeah, they made most of the rewards available elsewhere, and I don't know if anyone actually plays. I mean, I know that's also how you get to whatchamacallit, right? All I can think of is the Nemi Forest. There's more there than the Nemi Forest.
Nemi place, I call it.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it's just the Nemi Forest because the rest of the content's unplayable. But yeah. Anyway, so let's see here. Friend and world broadcast preferences. That's awesome. Is that in game yet? Yeah. You must be.
Yep.
Okay. I like how I keep asking the same question every 2 suggestions, just because like it's something that I like and haven't noticed. Personal Slayer dungeon improvements.
Actually, that was another good one.
Okay, I love the Slayer dungeon. So
you can move your the creatures you have in there. You can move them around now.
Mm-hmm.
So keep down in the big one. I just sort of stack everyone down there and just move the ones I want up to the small dungeon.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, whatever one that I like want to AFK in, it's like it'd be nice to be able to move them around. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
because then you can pick and choose. But you can still store souls without making them like your main room and having to remove them and delete them.
Yes.
Tier 92 armor patches, I assume is that for repairing or augmenting?
Yeah.
Repair.
A bit of everything for them, so that they didn't have to spend as much.
Okay.
And buy. Basically, it just meant they didn't have to buy masterwork to fix it anymore.
I got a question regarding Masterwork, a little unrelated, but since we're talking about it for a brief second, is there a version of Masterwork that doesn't require you to fight Nex? Is that just trimmed Masterwork that requires you to fight Nex, or is it all Masterwork?
No, trim Masterwork needs... well, you don't have to fight Nex, you just... Oh, wood,
Iron.
yeah, for Iron Man, wood, yes.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to avoid, because I know Nex will slaughter me. But I also want to make that armor, so... I can't make the trimmed version. Okay. Search function in titles and pets? That's awesome. Search function, much needed for those interfaces. Spiritualize food improvements. What? Did I just... What did I just...
Idea. What is this?
Are they adding, like... they're adding food, like, spiritual food to the game? I don't understand. Soul food. All right. Spiritualized food an ability of some sort from like a familiar
it's
that
a
I don't...
lunar spell, the wiki tells me.
Okay.
And it no longer requires a piece of food in order to cast it as of this update.
Okay.
And a couple other things, but I had never used the spell, so I'm not...
Never even heard of it.
Didn't know it existed.
Yeah. There's so many weird, like, quirky things that are buried in, like, lunar spell books and stuff like that that I just completely forgot existed in the game that might actually be useful as an iron.
It's kind of interesting. It fully heals your familiar, boosts its combat stats, and increases duration by 20%.
Oh, cool.
So I think they made it so the costs were rune-based instead of food-based.
That's cool. I like that. I like what it does, too. Like, for extra 20% on your familiar. Now, my only question is, does it improve your familiar 20% every single time you use it? Can you only use it one time per familiar? Or do you get diminishing returns because it's a percentage? That's my question.
I don't know if this update affected it or not, but I think spiritualized food, when you did archaeology the first time, when you got the water fiends, you could increase the amount of time that you could use the water fiend to extend it, but I think it was only a one-time per familiar.
Right.
Yeah, it can be only used once on the familiar, and it has a 2-minute cooldown.
Okay. That makes more sense than just...
But you can use it right away to go beyond the initial, like, total time, so you can have, like, 120% length.
Okay. That's cool. I mean,
I had that in real life.
I was going to say, if anyone knows me, I'm always striving for bigger length, more girth, bigger familiars. My bunyip's been kind of floppy lately. Let's see here.
Incense sticks.
Say that again? I miss.
Use your incense sticks.
Oh yeah, I'll light one right now, baby. Many of the PAGs, and I'm sorry, there's just one letter. Like this is one letter off of another word that just keeps flashing into my brain every single time I see it, and it's like causing me to stutter each time.
Orgs.
This is a family-friendly show. I'm not saying anything. The ninjas were delighted with both quality and quantity of the PAG submissions, which will be... It's just Jagex. They always find a way to just make it slightly off-putting. Like, everything is just slightly off-putting. Always.
That's the first thing that popped in my head when I saw it was the same thing. So.
Right, fair enough. So what's next for PAG? As you can see... No problem. As you can see...
I'm just imagining DX. Remember that old guy? He would have just screamed. He would have just screamed it out. I'm just...
Oh man.
Oh, DX.
I'll tell you.
Miss DX.
The one thing I miss about DX is his lack of a filter. For sure. That brought about probably the most organic humor we ever had on the show. PAG is an amazing tool, but requires time to set up, from recruiting teams to gathering feedback for developers, and that means it can only be used on long-term projects. As we move into 2021, we want the next evolution of deep player expert feedback to match the agility of our development teams. So level 1, so stay tuned for more info. I'm sorry, but that's the most non-answer I've ever heard. As far as, like, what's next to, like, well, we need the trajectory of the ways that everyone is currently angling their current momentum to align with the stars, and then, of course, once that has been met, well, like, come on, just say that you don't have the resources to do it right now, and we'll do it again later. I don't know. I don't like corporate bubbly speak. Anyone want to talk about PAGs, or are we good? Any final thoughts? That's about right.
Another experiment that failed, I think.
Yeah, it's just... I mean, I'll give it to them for trying something new.
I shouldn't say failed, because it did bring in some good stuff, but it sort of didn't have the impact that sort of they promised.
Right. And I think that's probably the most one-size-fits-all, like, interchangeable statement that you can probably always drop about a Jagex content update is it didn't make the impact they wanted. It wasn't bad. It was mostly okay. You know, it was average.
I disagree. I think when I look at the total amount of suggestions, obviously we're only seeing a fraction here, but like right. I feel like when I look at this list and the development cycle where they already have plans for the next year or two, and fitting this number of improvements in 6 months seems like a reasonable list with the mindset of like, who knows what else is coming from this over the following 12 months. Because we continue to get ninja strikes, we continue to get updates, and
right.
if 50% of those came from this focus group, then you know I'd be a fan of trying it again, even if I think a lot of it's not visible to us, and I think 2 years from now, if they did another retrospective, which are like, here are the updates that were attributed to this original group, I'd be really interested in that because I think it'd be a long list.
I mean,
that's true.
I give them credit for the fact that 328 different updates that are game worthy is nothing to sneeze at. Like a typical Ninja Strike probably contains maybe like 50, 60 updates, and a lot of them are just like, we moved a tree. So yeah, I mean, if these are all game changing and actual like quality of life and not just like a typo has been removed from a quest, then yeah, these can all definitely be impactful updates, and I'm definitely not giving them the credit they deserve because I can't see what they've actually implemented here, and I understand why they did that too, because if they just released a list of 328 changes that they deemed accepted to the game that were coming in maybe in 6 months, maybe not, people would then make Reddit posts 2 years later going, look at this list of things Jagex promised us and didn't give us. But maybe if you sort of on each, when they do their ninja strikes, just say from our player advocacy group, and just put the, whatever they brought in from that, so we could see that maybe it was successful. But exactly.
As Cliff said, if maybe we did see sort of at the end of this year what they did bring in, another retrospective, it might make it look a bit better.
I agree. I think that would be the best way to go about it. Is just anytime a PAG update makes it into a Ninja Strike, you just put in parentheses like, RS Guy PAG update or something to let people know. And then at the end of the year, put a list, show the value. That was one of the biggest things I think you can do to sell someone something is show them the value in it, so they can want to do it again or want to buy into it. Like I don't know. This may not be the last PAG we ever see. It just may be a long time before they do another one, because they may have realized how long it will actually take them to implement the things they get from these PAGs.
Exactly.
So, all right.
As I said, 328 suggestions is...
It's a long list. And, and if they aren't all, like, fixed a typo at X, then yes, they could be major game updates to some people.
And that's basically what the PAG was about. It wasn't about typos, and that's about genuine issues that players have, like costs of things or drop rates of things and all that type of stuff. Yeah. It was very heavily sort of combat focused at the first one, which is probably to be expected.
Yeah, I don't blame that necessarily on anyone except for Jagex, because you took a PVMer, and it's the whole idea of, if you pick an expert on PVM, they're probably going to give you expert advice on PVM. Like that would be a good idea. So the fact that the majority of them are PVM related doesn't surprise me. I hope they eventually pick some skillers and stuff too. Next up here, we have a post on Shattered Worlds, a Ninja Strike. Pern, would you be interested in reading about this Ninja Strike?
Before you get in there, I'm gonna jump out of here.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, we're only
Happy
2 topics.
Father's Day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for stopping by.
Actually, I'm gonna do the same thing too. I got coming in like 4 minutes, and I got cake and stuff. So
okay, enjoy. Happy birthday.
Okay. And happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yes.
Love
Thanks,
later. Love to have you on again sometime.
Yep, for sure.
All right.
For those who don't know, down here in the south, the RR Man and over in New Zealand, myself in Australia, it is our Father's Day. So now that it is after midnight, it is Father's Day for us. So there you go.
Nice.
But anyway, let's get on to this game update, Ninja Strike number 3, Shattered Worlds. Oops, sorry, just polishing off the last of those chocolate eggs. This week's been another Ninja Strike, this time in the heart of the Shattered Worlds. In other news, we've got an update on the race to the top of the Archaeology high scores, a special message from our CEO, and the opportunity for you to win your very... Oh, okay. Let's just get into the Ninja Strike, because you're not going to be winning anything from them from a year ago.
What were you polishing there?
Polishing off the last of the chocolate eggs, apparently.
Polishing my chocolate eggs. Okay, cool.
So, it'd be racist, that one, wasn't it? Ninja Strike Shattered Worlds. For almost 3 years, the creatures of Shattered Worlds have existed in harmony, quietly plodding around the abyss and eating the occasional night with nary a care in the world. But everything changed when the ninja team attacked. With a wham, a bam, and a flurry of shuriken, Shattered Worlds was changed for the better this week. From bosses to rewards to the UI, every single part of the minigame has been given a new lease of life. New objectives. The first thing you'll notice is that along with a bit more task variety, there are now 3 extra objectives you might be asked to complete in your world-hopping adventures. Deal a certain amount of damage, repair the portal, and summon and kill the boss. Bosses, you say? Glad you asked. Every 5th world will be a boss world, where you will find Gillenor's most iconic baddies, including the God Wars Dungeons 1 generals, except for Nex, the Chaos Elemental, Dagonoth Kings, and the Barrows Brothers. To summon them, you'll need to defeat a certain percentage of the monsters in that world. Repairing the portal is also fairly straightforward. The monsters you kill will drop 3 pieces of handy-dandy portal repair kits, which you can then use to fix up the portal and move on to the next world. There's no construction required, which is probably why it fell apart in the first place.
I didn't know these were new.
I haven't been here in like 3 years, so...
I jumped... Well, I'll tell you, because of Iron, Shattered Worlds is one way you can train without really a fear of death. So I jumped into Shattered Worlds and thought this was all just how it's always been. So this is interesting news to me.
Get masks too that you can't get on. Obviously, you don't do treasure hunter, so you can get all your Slayer masks from these guys.
Ah, I didn't know that. I did know.
Yeah,
I learned out. I learned the hard way, or the easy way, I guess, that you can also do Slayer tasks in there if, like, you're having a hard time finding a specific monster. Like, those monsters count, which I thought was interesting. Anyway, continue.
Okay. The new rewards, along with these new objectives, the Abyssal Knights have provided some fancy new rewards for you to earn. The following items can be exchanged for anima in the Shadow Worlds reward store. Slayer Masks and Spirits of Battle. The various Slayer Masks available from Shattered Worlds have been reorganized into a single tab and ordered by Slayer level requirement. In addition, you can now purchase Spirits of Battle for 100 million anima each. This is the first time Spirit of Battles have been available outside of Treasure Hunter, so for those of them unfamiliar with their use, they'll reset the kill count on your Slayer Mask, letting you get more benefits out of each one. And for those who don't know, with those Slayer Masks, I think it's every 10th kill on it gives you a chance of double drops. So, yeah, so it was great down at Ice Strike Worms and such, where you got the chance of a double Staff of Light and things like that.
It's the OG Hazelmere Signet Ring.
Titles. 3 new titles can now be purchased from the Shadow Worlds store, which is the Abyssal Knight, the Animaniac, and the Abyss Diver.
I like the Animaniac. That's the cool one.
Yeah. Teleport Scrolls. Tired of schlepping all the way through the swamp every time you want to slay some abyssal beasties? Then we've got the scroll for you. This helpful scroll will take you directly to the Shattered Worlds, and each one costs just 250,000 anima.
That's like negates an entire run almost for a low level.
Exactly. And I mean, really, it's not that hard to get there from Lumbridge. It's
very
quick.
It's like 30 seconds from the lodestone. If
or even if you've got your Nexus teleport, things like that. Just bang, bang.
I forgot about that. I haven't even done the Nexus because it feels like a group activity. I don't know if they changed it, but like no one's ever doing it.
You can do it solo.
That's good.
You can do it solo.
As I go ahead.
Sorry.
You're good.
Interface changes. The Shadow Worlds UI has been completely overhauled with more info boxes, new minimap icons, and a revamped layout that should make the minigame feel much less complicated. And that is basically it on that.
Cool beans. So, I find that this minigame... I wrote this minigame off when I played my main, because it's mostly just combat. And
it's a mid-level. Yeah, it's a mid-level.
It's just, I mean, it gets really hard towards the end if you can make it up that far. But the rewards are... The only thing you really go there for are the combat rewards, which, like, Bladed Dive, Salt in the Wound, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there are pets there, but...
There are pets... I mean, and that's the only reason I'd go there is to unlock those pets, which I do eventually want to do as part of my sort of... My true completionist, unlock sort of every pet in game that is available and not on Treasure Hunter.
Right. That would be great. I think that's a noble goal. I love pets. I think that they add an interesting flair to the game because you can kind of determine which one you want to use. And they changed it recently, and we might get to this, but I think you can override your legendary with more pets now, which is huge. Yeah, like that.
One of the best updates of this year.
Hell yeah! Like I'm excited to talk about that. I won't blow through that too much, because that's fantastic. Like pets are a great way to add a flair to your account without changing your actual outfit or anything like that. And they're easily interchangeable. They don't have stats, so you can have whatever one you want. But they do have different levels of prestige, so it's like it's really cool. It's like a title. You see a rare title, you see a rare pet. It's kind of the same idea. You know, I'm into that type of stuff. Anything that creates diversity and rare, unique accounts. Like, some people hate the idea of, like, them not being able to obtain something. As long as it's physically obtainable, and it's me that's getting in my way, I'm all for it. Like, comp and stuff like that doesn't piss me off, because the only person that's stopping me is me. Like, it's not my computer, it's not my internet connection, it's not Jagex, it's my skill level. Playing this game 20 friggin' years... But, you know, apparently I'm bad at it. That's okay. You're supposed to be bad at RuneScape for the most part. Only like 10% of RuneScape players actually are any good at it. That's what I've learned. That's why we have double XP weekends, which is our next topic here. They have like 800 of them a year now, if I remember correctly. And this was one of the extended ones. Have we ever talked about double XP extended? I don't know if there was a double XP extended.
I think the first one of this was in February when, you weren't around at that time.
Right. Okay. So double XP Weekend Extended is a new form of double XP, if I remember correctly. It begins on one day and then ends far in the distant future and pauses when you're not logged in, right?
Yep.
So
I hated this.
Yeah, it's not great. So basically what it does is you have 10 days to get 48 hours of double XP, which means, now think of a classic double XP weekend, right? Starts on a Friday, ends on a Monday. You have 3 days to obtain, what logically shouldn't be any more than like 20 hours a day of XP. Even if you're going no life, like you should, let's just say every human being should have at least 3 to 4 hours of sleep. So even that 20, 40, 60, like 60 hours in a weekend, what some people work in an entire week is what they would expect the most elite players to do in a single weekend. This basically takes that challenge away, takes that eliteness, if you will, or no life out of the idea of double XP weekend, and gives them the entire 48 hours as long as you can do it in 10 days. That's a lot of bonus XP. If you think about it... Go ahead.
I think also the first time they did this, they gave us 24 hours.
Okay, so they doubled it.
Yeah, because people were complaining that, I can get more than that when I do this. I normally get 72 hours, and everyone was complaining. No one ever used 72 hours.
Yeah, no. If you're getting...
took the average, which was around... I think they said there was only 3% of players used more than 24 hours.
I was going to say, I would say most people probably do about 20 hours max.
Yeah, so that's why they set it at 24, because that was pretty much where a good chunk of players were doing. Yeah, as I said, 3% went over that, but because of the complaints, they decided to up it to the 48. Again, at this time, I basically was logging on, doing my daily keys, maybe a farm run or two, and then logging out. I played very little over the double XP weekends. What is great about them now is you can actually pause it. So if you don't want double XP, you can just turn it off.
That is actually a cool feature. Like, if you're just against the idea of double XP, you can just be like, no, thank you, opposed to having to not play.
Especially now, we're getting 4 double XP weeks a year.
Yeah.
I use 1, maybe 2 a year. But yeah, this I thought at this time I was really this made me sick. It's like, nah, for 2 weeks basically I didn't play that much at all.
I don't blame you.
But once they had the turn it off if you want. Bang, I could, and of course there were still some things I did. Sometimes I'd use sort of 6 or 8 hours, even though I'd play the 48 hours, no worries.
Right.
Or I would just do clue scroll runs and things at that time.
That's a decent way around it too. But yeah, it sucks when an event that's supposed to be enjoyable for everybody, it turns out to be something that limits the way you can play the game. So this is a nice way around that. Like, I honestly think that even on a live bonus XP weekend, you should be able to disable the bonus XP timer without being an iron account. Like, they should have not a pause, but maybe just an actual stop. And you can't turn it back on. Like, it warns you like 3 friggin' times in a row. Where it's like, if you do this, you will not get bonus XP for the entire time. And if you don't contact us telling us to turn it back on, like, you fucked up. Anyway.
Yep.
So I think we're pretty much on the same page there. Go ahead.
Yeah. This one was 10 days I thought was pretty reasonable. I think the last one they did it for, I think it was 20 days.
Wow.
Which was just absolutely ridiculous.
From the chat says, making it extended was good for people who work. Not all of us can no life it anymore, which is fair.
Oh, of course. And I have no idea. I mean, as I said, for me, what made it enjoyable after that was, I think it was the one after this, because I complained a lot about this one, but I think it was the one after this one where they put on the pause button. And then I thought that was brilliant. Once you had the that pause button, everyone could play the way they wanted. If you wanted the double XP, you got it. If you didn't, you didn't have to.
For sure. And I do agree that the idea of an extended is not a bad thing. it gives people more choice in how they want to play.
Not only that,
Uh-huh.
the health of people. I mean, it's not healthy to sit there for 60 or 65 hours in 2 days playing a game. This allowed people to spread that out. It did sort of... That community feel was lost a lot, though. You remember jumping on and you see everyone in there doing their Herblore or doing that and talking and, I want to buy this, I want to buy that. When it was sort of spread over that 48 hours, you lost a lot of that.
Fair.
Obviously, the first weekend there was a bit, but, if you weren't on the weekend and, you had a whole bunch of stuff to sell on the Wednesday or Thursday, it was basically just done through the GE because there wasn't those... I'll pay you this, and people paying exorbitant amounts just to transfer it.
That's one thing I hated about bonus XP was like trying to get supply. Like they used to not tell you when bonus XP would be, so you'd have like,
which is great.
Yeah, it would also make things like plank speed like triple price.
Exactly. For a hoarder like me who used to not use them, just leave them banking up in the bank, and then I just sit there and I'll be sitting there doing something, and someone go, like the oak planks generally sell for like 145 GP. Paying 500 GP for oak planks, as many as you can. Great, take them all.
I got lucky on one of the bonus XP weekends, and I needed to like a stupid amount of planks to get 120 construction. So I bought extra. Just because I think it made the deal cheaper, and then I held on to them for like a year, and then I sold them for double what I bought them the first time around because inflation's a bitch. And it was I basically made my entire money back on the half stack that I had remaining, just because people were willing to pay stupid prices because there's not enough. There wasn't enough time for people to like. I think it was one of those where they were just like, "Hey, surprise bonus XP weekend in the middle of the summer." Which is,
I wish they would do that again.
Yeah,
basically,
I like.
Tell us on like Wednesday. Wednesday, come out and say this Friday we're starting bonus XP, and then people say, "Oh, bang!" And you'll see that big rush of people trying to get things, trying to flip things.
It is
that risk.
It does make it feel more like a holiday, and it makes it feel more like something is happening. Now it just makes it bonus XP to me just feels like just another event that's rotated at this point. We have a lot of events.
That's another Yak Track.
Yeah, I actually wanted to talk about Yak Track at some point. I don't know if it's in any particular update.
I think he had Yak Tracks down there when they
when it announces a Yak Track, I'd like to talk about it because I remember.
I'm having a look. He has not put Yak Track.
All right, let's just talk about Yak Track real quick while we're on the topic of like promotionals. Because I remember us discussing the idea of Yak Track, or in its primitive form, the Battle Pass, back when it first came out, and we had mixed feelings about it. The first Yak Track was actually, I think, amazing as far as rewards went. If I remember correctly, it was also more expensive. Maybe it wasn't. It was just differently priced.
Yeah, for Premier Club, we've always had it for free.
Right. And I'll be the first one to let you know, this is the first year I did not buy Premier Club in a long time. Like, I have every Premier Club except the first one and this one. Yep. Because I was pretty kind of disillusioned for a while. So I'm actually paying for them if I want to do them. And I have not sunk any money into them because they just don't offer enough for me to care. Like, cosmetics are fine and all, but the cosmetics that they add honestly don't generally appeal to me. Like, they aren't Solomon store quality. They aren't like limited time fund, some charity quality. They all seem to be fairly like, here's a wizard's hat.
I thought the last one was actually that looked really nice. The Seren
I haven't seen that
stuff. Yeah, that was really nice.
I found. Go ahead.
No, you go first.
I found the Halloween one to be kind of lacking, and I think that was like the last one I attempted.
A lot of people complained about the Halloween one.
There have been a couple good ones though, and I don't dislike them, but when the rewards are posed to an iron account, there's a lot of tiers where you're just doing them to get to the next one, right? So I've been ignoring them.
Yeah, for I mean, they're obviously they're aimed at the general player base, not
which is fine.
Accounts. And that's it. I mean, you choose to play an iron account, you limit yourself, and you're going to limit sort of some of the stuff that you have, and that's what we accept when we do these iron accounts. But what I love about, I've completed every single one of them, and I think I've still got 14 skip tickets because you get a couple of skip tickets every time.
And they carry over.
Last year's last year's beach, you were getting a couple of free skip tickets and such, and yeah, those skip tickets will carry forward all the way through. You can buy skips for bonds as well, which is a great idea, I thought.
Yeah.
But what I love about them is just for someone like me who is fully maxed, 120. I've only got 4 skills left to get 120s in. You know, I've got a couple 200 mil skills now. It gives me something to do, like a little goal each day. So, you know, and it gets me going back to different things. You know, thieving, and you're sort of changing skills and all that throughout the day. You know, doing clue scrolls. The new skill and kill task, which they have sort of in the early stages, pretty much every second one, and then after level 30, I think it's every third or fourth one, is a great idea because, you know, they're the ones you can just jump into what you want. Okay, and the next one's going to be smithing, so I'll have to do some smithing and things like that. I thought they are a great idea. It's a good money maker for them. As I said, the Halloween one last year was very ordinary. But since then, I thought they've been good. And as I said, the cosmetics for the last one were excellent. I don't know that every 6 weeks is needed. I would probably go back to maybe having one every quarter.
Yeah.
They do 6 weeks on, 6 weeks off. I thought if you have a summer, a winter, you know, spring and fall, as you call it over there, that would be a better option for the majority of players. For myself, I love it every 6 weeks because it does give me something to do and things like that. Especially, yeah, when with Victoria, the lockdown capital of the world now, we're stuck at home and such. I can just chuck on the TV, flick that on, and it sort of gives me while I'm watching TV, I've got a little bit of an interest going on. Yeah, because you can't have friends and family over and things like that. So it has. I think I've enjoyed it a lot more. You know, the last 6 months because the way life is at the moment. So once we get back to sort of normal living, you know, whether that 6 months is going to be too often, because that's a lot of the complaints I hear. You know, oh, another one. You know, people sort of complaining we've only just finished one and there's another one starting again.
Right, that is definitely, you can get an event kind of overload, especially if you're a casual player.
Yeah. And especially when it's the same type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if they mix that in with those currency events we used to have, so you don't really see those currency events much anymore. Remember a few years ago we had like 6 and 8 months or something?
They've definitely, I remember that. It was just constant. Now, and me being the type of person who needs to like get the extra stuff from the currency for my main account, was just like, I couldn't stop. Like, that burnt me out. They don't understand what they're doing. Or at least clearly they did, because they varied it up. It is also true, AC and saying, they're good for making you train skills that you wouldn't normally train. Like,
exactly.
It's a great way to vary up your gameplay. I do appreciate that, especially as someone who likes, like, I like skilling.
Because
yeah, definitely, because it's kind of like a task maniac, only it's not as difficult. It's more like skill maniac.
Yep. And that's it. And I mean, I'd love if they have it. I mean, for people who haven't used, I don't know if they can track whether people use skips or not, but first person to complete it without using skips, you know, you just have that little announcement come out, and sort of at the end of each page on the wiki, you'll have that name up there. So little things like that. Well,
I didn't know that.
Even Jagex. No, they don't do that. But I think that's something that they could add into that type of thing. If Jagex, even if they had a leaderboard on the thing, you know, the first 10 people to complete without using any skips, and you know, there's a seasonal thing that comes up, so you can go back the last 3, and you might see a name up there. That'd just add that little bit more interest in it. And I think
I must interject and remind from past experiences with time-based leaderboards, we must remember it generally encourages abuse.
Oh yeah.
That's the only problem. I personally like it.
Things.
Yeah, exactly. We can't have nice things because then dumbasses account share and do shit like that just to get their name on a stupid web page. It's like you gotta ruin everything.
And that's exactly right, and that's why they won't do things like that anymore.
Yeah.
Because the douchebags out there who do things like that.
Really sad because some of the best competition is time based. I mean, especially when we're not talking about things like bossing, where it's like, yeah, it's time based, sure, but it's also based on your damage, which is based on your gear, which is based on your wealth. So when you have something like this, where it's like, it's almost like a miniature speed run of the game. Like, how fast can you complete these things that we're telling you to do? Now, of course, tool level does take will definitely vary, but from what I remember, you actually track scales, I think, with your level, like. It just tells you to do stuff for the most part, and then so it should be fair, no matter what you're.
Well, the smithing one that I just completed, I had to do 484,000 smithing because I'm over level 99.
Great,
but for someone under level 80, I think it was only 340k.
Right.
They have different things like that. So as long as you're sort of at least mid-level. You're going to be able to compete. And let's face it, I mean, if you're level 20 or 30, you've got no chance of competing for a high score anyway. So
yeah. I mean, you don't even get listed. That's just how it is, baby. Would you like to talk about the Effigy Incubator? It's a new D&D that I haven't heard about yet.
Yeah, this one pisses me off.
Okay, interesting. I don't know anything about it, so I'm going in blind.
It's not bad. Effigy Incubator comes in on Anachronia, and basically it's going to unlock some lore, but you need 12 months to do it. So obviously, if you have your monthly skip, it's a monthly D&D basically. If you have your monthly skip as of this month, you can get it done in basically 6 months. Now, I didn't realize it was part of my Master Quest Cape.
Oh, that's why you hate it now.
Yes. So I've lost my Master Quest Cape for at least a month, possibly 2, because there's no count showing me how many I've actually done of it either.
Oh, that sucks.
So Thieves told me about it back in January, I think it was, and this got released in September last year, and you had 12 months. So I lost the first 4 months of it. And I've been trying to do it since then, and I think I missed a month or 2 in between there, just with different things going on. It basically locks away my Master Quest Cape just because I can't make a couple of these effigies. But basically, it's a nice little distraction diversion to create effigies to gather up extra XP, you crack them open, you get a chance at a Dragonkin lamp, or you can get stars or lamps to use on certain skills.
Okay.
So it's a fun little game. It runs for 5 minutes. Generally, if you do it within the time limit, when you put your effigies into the incubator, it can double them. Now, the most you can generally do, unless you're sort of some sort of god, is 8 in that 5 minutes. So you'll get 16 effigies to use.
So you bring your own effigies to the table here? Like, what happens?
You create effigies. So when you first go in, you speak to the Dragonkin guy down there. He'll tell you need to fix up you've got 3 valves you've got to turn. Once they're done, you pull a lever and then your timer starts. So you go and you mine the effigy.
Okay.
There's a little node there. You mine that. It goes up like a normal mining sort of thing, like that little lifeline that sits above it. You get empty effigies. As I said, up to 8. Then you go to the different, what they call node materials, and there's scrap metal, knickknacks, anima nuggets, and dragon flesh. Whichever one you mine, you'll get XP for that. So the scrap metals for smithing, knickknacks is for invention, anima nuggets for rune crafting, and dragon flesh for crafting. There's 12 different nodes, and they keep sort of flicking around. There's also, while you're sort of mining on those, you can get an effigy remnant that comes out. When you click on that, you basically get really fast drops of those materials. 20 materials needed for each effigy. So generally what you do, you make your 8 effigy, collect 160 material, run up to the workbench, create it, and then run back to the incubator, shove them in. As long as you do that before that 5 minutes is up, once they're cooked, you'll get 16 back. Now, if you do it and don't get to the effigy in time, you'll only get the 8 that you originally did.
Okay, that's interesting.
Now, once those effigies that you've done absorb 60,000 XP, they're done. So the different effigies you make are explosive, unstable, erratic, and volatile. And basically, explosives you fill with cooking, fishing, mining, wood cutting. Unstable is divination, farming, hunter, rune crafting. Erratic, divination, farming, hunter, rune crafting. And volatile is cooking, fishing, mining, and wood. So basically, explosive and volatile are the same 4 skills. Unstable, erratic, the same 4 skills.
Okay.
So you can just make a whole bunch of unstable, go to divination. Once they're full, crack them open, and you'll get either a lamp, a bonus star, or if you're lucky, a dragonkin lamp.
All right.
So yeah.
So that's worth doing then, it sounds like. I should be doing this for XP. I didn't even know this existed, so this is all news to me. I mean,
you have to open up Acronia and be able to do that. You must be level 85 in whichever one you do, smithing, invention, rune crafting, or crafting.
Okay. I can do crafting
and
smithing, that's it. On my iron.
Then you can either make your explosives or your volatile ones, which you fill, as I said, with cooking, fishing, mining, or wood cutting. So say you go down there, you make all your smithing ones. You've got 16 of those. Then you just go and do a whole lot of mining, fishing, cooking, wood cutting, and it doesn't matter. You can be doing cooking, get 30k cooking, and then go and do fishing and still fill it up. It doesn't have to be 60k of the one skill. It's any of those 4 skills at any time.
Right. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
I think I might actually like this. Especially considering it's only a monthly.
It's a fun little minigame. It's a monthly one.
You're only mad at it because it took away your cape.
Well, yeah, it's a great little one, and I'm not a big effigy fan now because obviously on my other account, this is going to be great. I'll be doing this all the time for it, but obviously I don't need extra XP on this account.
Indeed. So I'll definitely add that to my favorites list then because I gotta get that. I need that XP for sure. That's good XP.
Yep.
Good stuff. What else we got here? Right. In order to keep RuneScape, I honestly don't know how much this helps RuneScape stay afloat, but they released RuneScape onto Steam last October.
Apparently, a lot of it kicked up the numbers a bit, but a lot of people do log on through Steam. So
I got a quick PSA. I don't know if this is still the case, but I've been trolling Reddit for probably just an infinite amount of time at this point. But I saw some people complaining that there is an exploit. If you have your Steam account linked to your RuneScape account, it's a vulnerability. I don't know where the vulnerability lies, but apparently it's one way for people to take control of your account is through the Steam link. Again, I don't know how or why. Maybe it means that they literally would need to take control of your Steam account, but that's not impossible. All I know is linking your RuneScape to your Steam account creates basically it's an extra attack vector that doesn't need to be there. So if you don't need those things linked, don't link them or unlink them, just because it could possibly put you in danger unwittingly for no real benefit. That's just what I've seen.
When you say no real benefit, I think one thing they are looking at is Steam is actually going to be doing. I think they have badges or something on there.
Okay.
For different things. I think
they have trading cards too.
RuneScape was looking at sort of getting into having some of the achievements and that linked through Steam rewards. So I don't know if that's still going ahead, but that was the sort of the talk of it I heard at that time.
Asking saying that they have to get a hold of your Steam account. So make sure you have 2-factor authentication enabled on Steam as well. Because
you should always have 2-factor on everything anyway.
Yeah.
Really.
Like anything you value.
Yeah, it might be a bit of a pain in the bum, but I mean, it's just for your own protection. That extra 3 seconds to click something is, it's going to look after you.
For sure. Like, just forget about RuneScape. Like, if you have any games in your Steam account, like, losing them would suck, wouldn't it? Had enable 2-factor. Anyway, so that's that. I personally didn't bother linking them as far as I can tell, but I have 2-factor on Steam, so it doesn't super matter. Just a good thing. Just be aware. It can be it's just an extra attack factor, and if you don't need it, there's no real reason to do it. Anyway, here's an update. This one's about Raksha, which I believe is a boss. This, I think, let's see, is this? Yeah, it's a new boss. So this is the actual release of Raksha. I have not tried Raksha. I don't know about you. This is
I have not done really any of the new bosses in the since Raksha.
That's fair.
Raksha took away my the combat sort of bonus that you got on a comp cape.
Oh, okay. So I haven't done any PVM since ED3. That was the last. Like, I've done ED2. I haven't done ED3. So any new PVM content that's post ED3, I have not participated in, which I think is quite a lot. Let's see. So, new boss, Raksha, the Shadow Colossus of Orthan. You already know some of the history of Orthan. I'll speak for yourself. The creation of the Varanosaurs? I'm assuming that's some sort of...
Varanosaurs? Yeah. It's one of the dinosaurs on the island.
Gotcha. The downfall of the Dragonkin race, the secret of the Shadow Anima, and now it's time to pull it all together and awaken the ancient terror lurking deep in the ruins. Adventurers who reckon they're able to contain Raksha's immense power will find themselves rolling in rewards. But beware, our latest solo and duo boss sits somewhere between Araxor and Telos in terms of difficulty, so you'll need to come prepared. So again, Araxor is kind of like the skill ceiling for me personally. I can barely do Araxor. I've never done Telos. A little afraid to try Telos.
I've got 2 Telos kills, I think.
What enrage did you do it at? Because
Hero.
Yeah, I was like, that's
the entry point.
That's
I did a video on it when it ages ago. So basically to show people that hey, you don't have to be elite to have to do it. I think it took me about 3 hours to get my first kill. I did a whole sort of video series on it and such. But yeah, it's a fun boss. But
I mean,
yeah,
Rax, I haven't done above 0% enrage, so I'm
I got up to 300. No, I think I got up to 250 on Rax.
So I'm still a pretty big noob. So let's see here. The requirements is just access to Anachronia, membership, and a combat level of 120. They recommend. Well, it's actually recommended combat level of 120 and tier 8 gear. That's not a necessity.
Yep. I think they've taken away all the sort of you must be this combat level now.
Yeah.
I think they've basically just give recommended. You don't have to be a certain combat level anymore.
I think that's for the best because certain players can absolutely do things at levels other people cannot. The rewards for this boss include Greater Chain, which is an upgrade of the chain ability. It'll hit the primary target and 2 secondary targets with a 6 square radius for 20 to 100% ability damage, plus 50% of the next magic hit against the primary target within 6 seconds will also be dealt to both targets. That's cool. One last thing, Greater Chain also stacks with Caroming, so if you're a skilled inventor, you'll be able to be an unstoppable killing machine. And Caroming just allows you to hit more targets, if I remember correctly. Greater Ricochet is an upgrade to the Ricochet ability, and just like Greater Chain, it'll hit your primary target and 2 nearby targets for 20 to 100% ability damage, and it stacks with Caroming. Here's the big difference. It's a ranged attack? No. The big difference is for each second target the ability doesn't find, your primary target will take an additional 10 to 50% ability damage. So if you're taking on a tough beastie on its lonesome, this is the ability you'll want to bring along. Interesting that they've made that ranged specific.
There's 2. Greater Chain is magic and Greater Ricochet is ranged. Now, I think there's big difference in price. I think it's about 150 million for Greater Chain. Last time I looked at the Greater Ricochet, the ability codex for that is 1.2 billion.
Jeez, I can see why. I mean, that big difference.
Yes,
Is
and
a
that's
big
what everyone
difference.
was complaining about. The Greater Ricochet is so OP, and
Was that done to balance the combat triangle?
They tried. I think that's what they were trying to do, but I think they went overboard because Magic, well, before you left, Magic was the way you always did everything with Magic.
Right.
Now Magic is the worst of the lot. It's ranged, then melee, then Magic.
I love how it just keeps.
I just bought.
Yeah.
I just bought myself a Star for Sliske for 400, and I put it in for 475 mil, and about 2 weeks ago. It took about 4 days, but someone sold one at that price.
Fair.
And
That's pretty good.
6 months ago, they were like a bill.
That's why I've never made $1 billion on anything. I don't think on. And you imagine just throwing something on the G and just straight up getting $1 billion in cash back. I can't imagine. Title diversity also apparently is... Oh, I'm sorry. Divert is another ability. I don't want to forget about that. It's a brand new ability that requires 48 defense and a shield equipped. When active, the next attack within 6 seconds will convert the damage you would have taken to adrenaline. So it's like, instead of healing you, it gives you adrenaline. I can only imagine what adrenaline junkies can do with that. That's awesome. Divert has a 30-second cooldown, which it shares with Resonance, so you can't use both healing and... That would be wild. You're just like, I have 100% adrenaline and 100% HP. I am invincible. Tie that with the relic that makes your adrenaline never go down when you're not using it. Like, that sounds cool. So anyway, title diversity. Titles that had a unique option based on your character's gender can now be used regardless of which character model you're currently using. To change your title to one of the new existing options, or exciting options rather, head to the title screen. There you go. Merch. We got new merch. There's a dragon shirt. That's cool. Dragon chain body shirt. Anyway, that's that. Anything else you want to bring up on Raksha?
Raksha was actually... it was an interesting boss, the backstory for it, sort of coming from Shadow Anima. It was actually a Colossus. It's sort of a brainless god, or a demigod, I guess you'd sort of call it. It come back in through... it's full of Shadow Anima and such, so that's why we can go in there, but sort of other creatures on the world can't, because Shadow Anima is poisonous to them.
Didn't know that. Next up here. Now, this is a sequel. This is Violet is Blue 2. And also Yak Track, which I can see which Yak Track this was and see if I did it. I don't think I did this one. But
this was the Christmas one.
Yeah, I don't think I was around for this one. But let's talk about Violet is Blue 2, because let's be honest, sequels to anything in RuneScape don't generally get the same hype as the original. In fact,
I enjoyed it.
That's good. As I frankly found Violet is Blue #1 to be mostly enjoyable, except for the introduction where you're trying to navigate around the boulders to climb up the mountain to get to her in the first place. Anything...
This played a lot better.
Just be better at it. That's good. That's good that this one plays better.
Yeah.
Because that really turned me off on my Iron account. I was like, oh, they recommend doing Violet is Blue as your first quest, because it has no requirements and nothing. And I was like, immediately at the beginning of the quest, I was like, I remember why I hate questing.
No, if you do, anyone who is making a new account, set it set it by levels. So do all your novices first, 5th age. Do all your do them in the order. Through, so go through all your novices, go through all your mediums, go through all your intermediates. Do them that way, because your storylines follow well that way, and then do them also 5th age and 6th age. So you sort of follow the lore and story properly.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
All right, so it says here, last time you met Violet, you helped her find her way to Yeti Town and make some new friends. Now everyone's favorite Ragamuffin is back and needs your help once again. It's almost Christmas and Yeti Town should be festooned with tinsel, lights, and baubles, but the whole place has remained dismally undecorated. It's up to you to help Violet get to the bottom of this merry mystery and save the day. And if you're too busy delivering presents and scoffing mince pies this holiday season, no worries. Like the first quest in the series, Violet is Blue 2 will be available to play all year, every year from now on. So
this is what I love about these Christmas quests, that they're set around Christmas, but they're in the game for a month and then they're taken out and gone forever.
Yeah.
They're always there, so you're not wasting all that dev time, and especially these days with the resources and such that are needed to create a quest.
Yeah, why dump
it's not
it?
like old school. Yeah, that's right. So I love the way that they are doing that. I hope they do more of that type of stuff where it's you don't have to have every holiday event as a quest, but like keep Christmas running this style. I think it's a really good way of doing it. So you have that Christmas themed quest, but it's going to stay there. And people are never going to miss out on it. If I start playing, my son starts playing in 5 years' time, he's not going to miss these sort of fun little quests.
Right. And I mean, you want Christmas in July? There you go. It's there for you to do. You don't have
exactly right.
I think
you live in Australia and you want that winter feel? Wait till July.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a way to just be inclusive with content and not be like, oh, you wanted to do that quest? Well, it's too bad you weren't here in 2020. Like that.
Exactly.
The only thing,
which is what I loved a couple of years ago when they had I think it was the 15th anniversary, where we went back and did a bunch of those old ones.
Yeah.
I would love to see them do that every year. Just
Same.
have that portal where you can go back, redo them.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite Christmas event of all time. And one of the main reasons why it worked so well is because it is completely against what I just said, but because you can't play those events anymore, it made them all feel so much special. Because I
wasn't here when they were on, so for me it was like, oh wow, these are the ones I've heard about. I could go and experience it.
Yeah.
For someone like you, hey, nostalgia. I played this 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember nothing about it. But
Same.
when you're playing through, oh yeah, that's
little bits and pieces.
Yeah,
would come back, and you could feel the nostalgia. Like they did a good job with that, and that was a hard decision to make a new event or recap every event we've already made. Both are large undertakings, and they actually managed to do that well. So, good for them. So this next post is an update regarding Mod Warden's Wintumber letter.
Just before you do that, the yak track for that Christmas was the night before Christmas, spelt with a K,
right?
As in the night. The pet, I forgot about that. The pet for that one was a yak done up like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and cool. That looked really cool.
Yeah, that is. I love Christmas themed stuff, so you're not going to get any complaints out of me for that. That's for sure. I didn't get to do that yak track though. I do appreciate though that they tend to put yak track cosmetics on oddments, like on a rotating thing.
And again, that was one of Mod Warden's things where anything that's sort of on those limited time events is going to be available, so no one will miss out.
It's funny.
At the start, I'm thinking, oh, well, that's not really fair because I've done it and then you haven't. But I like the idea that no one's ever going to miss out on it.
But then you stop to think about that one Halloween event where you missed that Master Inquisitor staff, and you're like, "Fuck it, everyone deserves these things."
No, I've got it now.
Oh, good. Did they re-release it?
No, yeah, it was on the Oddman store.
Yeah, exactly. So perfect. Good.
That's it. But see, I always think I didn't even know about RuneScape when things like the Scythe and all that was here.
Sure.
And it always sort of burns me because I love death. I love sort of the Scythe, that type of thing.
See, I heard it wasn't tradable, so I skipped the event.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah.
Do you know how valuable that item makes your account? Just for having it, like I know you can't trade it, but like physically having that item makes your account like so much more valuable. And I didn't really, fucking 13-year-old me wasn't thinking about that. 13-year-old me was thinking, I can't trade this to another player for money, so forget it. Anyway, so what is this letter here that he's got going on? Is this worth including? I see the player model.
Yeah, it's just
remake,
basically talking about about the year in review from his point of view, basically.
Okay, I'll give it a go then. He says,
Yeah.
Happy holidays, Scapers. Now, this is from 2020. Just to ground ourselves in chronological time here. I hope you've all been well through what has been a tough year for many of us, and that RuneScape played a part, however small, in making your year more enjoyable. I'd like to extend a personal thank you to everyone who has reached out to, supported, or been kind to other players during a year that has been scary, isolating, and unpredictable for many. Our whole team wishes you and your loved ones well this festive period. Be excellent to each other. Fill it with good times and good people. A look back at the year. As we close out 2020, I have some really, really great news to share. The game and the community we all love is in a significant state of growth. This year, the number of daily players and active members has peaked to the highest levels we've seen in over 5 years. Yeah, forcing people to sit indoors and play video games will do that. The member population is growing thanks to the continual stream of returning players and brand new adventurers. And best of all, the new players that are joining RuneScape are sticking around more than ever and giving us great positive feedback. This is an amazing thing for a game heading into its 20th year and is testament to how we've all banded together to welcome new faces from far and wide. Mm-hmm.
I just want to say, I mean, with Jagex, I mean, one reason I think Archaeology brought so many people in and kept so many people was that fact. But I mean, they couldn't have timed releasing Archaeology any better.
They used some dark magic for that shit.
Yeah, I mean, to actually get that timed out come out at the time it happened with everything we've sort of been through in the last 18 months, it worked very, very well for them.
Sir, our numbers are at an all-time low. What shall we do? Release the virus.
Yeah, ring Bill Gates and get the Great Reset happening.
So I'm really proud of what the team delivered and achieved under difficult conditions this year. And for launching, I just like how they're basically taking credit for people having nothing better to do with their time.
But don't forget, a lot of these devs had to work from home, and
sure,
Jagex have never ever allowed anything to be taken home to work.
Very true. Yeah,
they had to set everyone up in their home and get it all done for them to do this. So, kudos to them to be able to do it so quickly, and to do it so smoothly.
Fair. I'll give you that because there is another MMO that I had been following for a while called New World. I've kind of spoiled myself on it, like soured myself on it because it's taken so long at this point to come out. I don't trust that they're actually going to be a decent game anymore. But when the pandemic hit, they were basically like, okay, we're not releasing this year anymore. And they basically cited logistics. They can't easily develop from home. Which made sense at the time, and you're right, I don't give Jagex credit for the mobilization that they took. Jagex, if there's one thing they're good at, it's responding to disaster scenarios quickly and efficiently. It may not seem that way from the player's perspective, but they actually do a really good job of that, and the only thing I can think of is because the only difference this time is the disaster wasn't created by them. Like, normally they're fixing their own fuck-ups. So I think constantly having to remediate fuck-ups so often put Jagex in a unique position.
And speaking of that, there is coming up is one of the biggest stuff-ups they've had ever, I think.
Very true.
That's a few updates away.
Yeah. So it says here, when I think of the incredible quality bar we hit with the release of Archaeology, and I won't disagree with that. Archaeology is very well polished. It's not a bad skill. I've got my own personal quirks with it, but it doesn't make it not good content. I've just been around so long, it's really hard to please me and create something that I can't immediately go, yeah, that's just Archaeology 2.0, that's just, Invention 2.0, that's just air fishing, that's just this, that's just that, because I've seen it all. That doesn't make it bad content, it just means I'm a cynical bitch. The switch to a monthly release schedule that features quests, skilling content, D&Ds, combat content, the community-focused ninja strikes, and continual improvement of our time-limited events, it blows me away. So, I mean, yeah, they did a lot. They definitely did a lot in a year where most companies just said, F it, See you next year. Our team delivered, and they did it in a safe way. Like they enabled people to work from home, which is not a lot of places did that. So, and places that could do that didn't. Our team delivers over 50 weekly releases a year and runs an incredibly stable game operation. Oh, I don't know about that one.
2 other games.
We're talking about the same game here? Stable? Let's see here. They adapted, executed to plan, and honored their commitments to a no. I'm sorry. It's really funny to me for them to release a statement like that, and then literally months later, their entire game just implode. It's like, we run an incredibly stable operation. The base of the ship is underwater. Go ahead.
But, I mean, again, when we talk about that, I mean, they pumped everything into fixing it.
They did.
We all had to sort of miss out on updates. And what I loved, and I will give this to the community as well, there was a boss coming out at that time, and they said, well, we've got the boss ready to go, but we're really working hard on this. Should we release it? Should we wait until everyone's back in game? And the community voted overwhelmingly, hold off until everyone can be sort of, or the majority can be here to play. Yeah, which is fair because you miss out on those, the money you can make early on, and when a boss's first release is ridiculous. That's so unfair, and I don't even boss, but I understand the value. Exactly, and that's why, and I thought it was good on the community side of things to say, hey, let them have the chance at it as well. It's normally you'd be thinking, no, release it now so I can get as many as I can without as much competition. Right, but, and Jagex worked hard for all of that, so that's true. They worked hard for our money. That's very true. They gave it more effort than most game companies in these dark times. Let's see, where did I leave off? There's always things to improve or learn from, but I believe it's been a really great year for RuneScape. I hope you feel the same way. Then there's you, the citizens of Gielinor, who continue to bring the world to life and light up the internet with your tales, feedback, and creations. There were so many highlights this year, but my favorite is how you turned out for the Steam launch. The passion for the game you poured into thousands of reviews, 94% positive. So that's great for 94% positive in 30 days. I cannot say the same for the Android mobile launch. They have like a 3.1, somewhere between a 2.9 and a 3.1 on Android, which is abysmal to say the least. No one. Go ahead. I think it's about a 3.7 on Apple too. But don't forget, a lot of those games are released into countries like India, China, and such where they're not sort of localized. With all the language localized, and that's why if you read some of those reviews, can't play, can't understand. Not done for my language, things like that, and they're giving them 1 star. Yeah, if you go in and I actually go through and have a look at some of those reviews, and of course there's other ones where people are complaining about different things, but there are a lot complaining about the language because it's not language localized. Can you imagine? So Jagex, it's already localized into 3 or 4 languages around the world. Can you imagine them trying to do it for 30 countries with the amount of text in this game? Exactly, the amount of old quests and things like that you would have to do, and just make sure that this word, which means something here, doesn't mean something else over there. I forgot about the whole localization thing, where not only do you have to localize the language, you have to localize the play on words and stuff like that, because they don't work. Yeah. Because I think there was a car over in America that was meant one it was something in America, but when it went down to when it went down to Mexico, it became it was it was the Chevy Nova, which translates translates to no go. Yeah. Which is hilarious. Yeah, I learned that in business class in high school. That was hilarious. Yeah. That was a hilarious story. Yeah, I was sitting there. That's one I always remember, where it was this car. Yeah, but when it goes down South America, it means it doesn't work. Yeah, it means it doesn't run, which is not helpful. Imagine if Kia imported a car into America and we're like, it's the Kia shitbox, and you're like, what? Excuse me? Which means gold standard over there.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I know it's and that's it. I mean, and that's where I think they did get a lot of sort of bad reviews, 1-star, 2-star reviews off that, where people just didn't understand the language. So
That's
which
fair.
is understandable on their behalf too. But
It also didn't help that there was a massive bug in the character creation process on release that they didn't patch for over a week that made it impossible to finalize your character. So you would make a new character and there was no play game button, no start.
That's right. Yes, I heard about that one.
So literally tens of thousands of newly created accounts could not get past the account creation screen, and their solution was to go on to a computer and finish it there, which of course defeats the friggin' purpose of spending millions of dollars on a mobile client. But anyway,
that was only on some devices, though.
Correct. I'm pretty sure it was an issue with how many Android phones there are and how hard it is to get those interfaces to.
Because if you look at someone like Samsung, they don't use true Android. They use an Android base, but they edit it all to their own stuff. So when I used to sell them, they were always having problems with different apps and things.
I hate that. That's one of the reasons, and I have a Samsung phone, just to preface the fact that one thing you can do and probably should do if you want a better Android experience is get rid of the Samsung launching skin, because A, it slows down your hardware for no real reason, and B, it's a lot easier to work with apps if you just install I think it's there used to be something called Android Silver or something, where you get the Google version of it and just reinstall it over the top of whatever you have on your phone. Of course, that's not easy to just do, but it's worth it for compatibility and whatnot. Of course, you need a phone compatible with that, which is another problem. That's the biggest problem with Android phones, is they slap whatever hardware on top of the same operating system. So, sure, everyone was running the same hardware, but imagine owning a PlayStation 5, and I own a PlayStation 5, but my PlayStation 5 is from 10 years ago, and your PlayStation 5 is from 1 year ago. You think they're going to play the same games? No.
Exactly.
Anyway, the incredible content you showcased in the Community Hub and the way you offer to help new players in games said so much about this passionate community that we are lucky to have. I have no doubt your efforts and spirit have played a huge part in players joining and staying in RuneScape. Thank you. All I can think about is the way people talk to each other on Reddit. Speaking of community...
Or down at the Portables World.
Oh, God. Oh, even World 79 Divination is just as bad, too, now.
Is it?
All right.
Portables World is basically the old living rock caverns.
So I never thought I would get to this point in my life, and this is pre-Ian Taylor. But I was hanging out at, I think it was World 70 Artisans Workshop. That's another no chat place apparently too. I mean, you straight up have people apologizing for people who are into underage individuals, as well as just straight up talking about it, just talking about just disgusting things. Just it used to be racist. Fine, racism sucks, but it's a pretty humans have a lot of racism in them, unfortunately. I found out. But I thought we could all kind of come together and agree doing stuff to underage people not cool, ever in any situation. And yet here we are now, we've reached this level of chat, and Jagex still does nothing about that. I don't
that's one thing that, I mean, I hate racism, but I mean, one thing that I cannot stand is that type of thing. And we're trying to pass a law here to decriminalize it because it's a sickness. And it's no, it doesn't matter if it's a sickness or not. It's illegal, and you've got to protect that child, and I don't care on anything.
Here's the problem: it can be a sickness. It absolutely can be a sickness, and you can help those people. But once they've crossed the line and literally committed a crime and permanently damaged another human being, they don't get the same rights as somebody who comes before they do that and say, "Hey, I need some help." Big friggin' difference. And you got people who are they're Lolicon, it's legitimate. It's my favorite. That's what I jerk off to. I'm I can't be here anymore. I'm gonna hire hitmen. Yeah.
I turn chat off, a local chat off when I'm at Portables.
I didn't want to because like, all right, this is a bad reason to not want to, but I was looking for a clan, and I was just trying to socialize with people and seeing like what was going on, and like I regret ever coming here. It's like I'm literally like shaking thinking about it, because it's just like there's nothing you can do. You can report them, but nothing changes.
Yep.
Anyway, community togetherness is just I agree there are great communities in RuneScape, but they should do something about their forward-facing image, like that part of the community. I don't know. I just feel like something should be done about it when you get to that level. Like, again, someone spamming obscenities can be muted. Someone arguing for political change that literally hurts people, like underage people that can't even consent, that just there's no real apologizing for that. I'm sorry. Anyway, I'll shut up, because I could just literally drone on about how horrible people are, but that doesn't change anything. So no better way was that shown than with our friends at Old School RuneScape during the Global Play Apart Together initiative earlier this year. This was designed to help those struggling to adapt to a changing world through socializing whilst playing games, like RuneScape. Thanks to your help getting involved with the drop and loads of other events, we were able to raise over £100,000 to our mental health charity partners, You Are Rad, the Prince's Trust, and CPSL Mind. Combine that with our Gillen or Giving events for Mental Health Awareness Week and World Mental Health Day this year. Together, we've been able to raise over £330,000 to increasingly important mental health support for vulnerable people across the globe, as well as a cool £26,000 for our friends at Special Effect for their One Special Day event earlier this year. As a company, we've been able to donate more than ever before, and at a time when our charity partners needed it the most, with reduced access to funding during lockdown and corresponding increase in demand on mental health support. Give yourself a well-deserved pat on the back. It's the season of giving, after all. That's one thing. I mean, I'm always for it when they give money up to charity. I think they should do more besides giving money up to charity, like making their own game less predatory and less psychologically abusive, with fear of missing out and selling things and stuff like that. But
I mean, when you look at things, like they're looking at things to move away, and they've said they want to move away from Treasure Hunter and such, and that's what Yak Track is all about. That's why they extend. I mean, that was one of the reasons they extended double XP weekends to double XP weeks, so giving you 10 days to try and stop that sort of you have to be there sitting in. Hey, you've got that time to use it, and now you don't have to rush it and do it. All in a 60-hour sitting,
right,
and things. I think they are starting to work towards that. And you can't just change a game overnight. It's got to be done in increments. It's got to be done slowly. I mean, it'd be nice if we could just say, hey, we have to do this and that's it, and everyone accepts it. But,
remember, we got to this point by slowly changing the game in ways that made it the way it is. So it's like, you're right. It takes just as long to get out of the forest as it does to go into the forest.
Yep. I mean, I've put on, since I did my back, I've put on over 30 kilos, which I'm trying to lose. And, being in lockdown makes that very, very difficult. But, that weight went on you don't really notice it until one day you look down and go, Jesus, I can only just see the tip of my toes now.
I thought you were going to say the tip of something else.
No, that stands out about 3 feet.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, I know where you're going from, though, for real. Like, the lockdown... I'm already not an active person, and the lockdown took away what little social interaction. Like, I get my exercise from going for walks in the woods with friends, going out and walking around the town with friends. I can't do that anymore, so it's all. I'm literally sitting on my ass all day.
That's it. I can't work anymore, so I'd just go down the shops, just wander around the shopping centres, go down the park, just walk around, do things that we're not allowed. I mean, we're allowed outside for an hour a day now here. We're literally. We've had people where cops have pulled them over and booked them, given them $5,000 fines because they've been out of their house for an hour and a half.
That's wild. How do they? What do they just sit there with a friggin' like a stopwatch and be like, all right?
What actually happened? They pulled one lady over. They asked her about her walking, and they asked for her ID. She's handed over. They wrote her address, and they went and parked outside her house and waited for her to get home.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, that's why. We don't have a police force here in Australia anymore. They're just the stormtroopers for a dictator. But
that's
anyway,
the danger
we
of
won't
police.
get into all that stuff.
Yeah, fair.
Yep.
Looking forward, but now to the future. I have a few updates I want to share that I hope will whet your appetite over the holiday break. As we go into 2021, we will build on this significant moment and stack our efforts to grow RuneScape, all while delivering even more awesome updates into your own hands. Firstly, substantially growing the RuneScape team over the coming months to our capabilities and continue delivering a fantastic mix, or mince mix, I don't know. They chopped it all up and put it in a pie for you. A mix of monthly headline content drops, great holiday events, yak tracks, bi-monthly ninja strikes. The impact on this team growth is going to be most evident in how we approach Elder God Wars. Instead of just one moment to experience EGW, we've found several ways for it to be a dominant story arc throughout the year. All right, now here's my cynical ass saying, aka we found a way to make one content update be 8.
What I like about this, it's not just drop them all at once and it's done type thing. It's spread out. It gives people time to play and enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, Karapak was dropped last week last month as the boss. So people had a month to enjoy that. Now we've got the Glaycore boss. You're going to have a month to enjoy that, and then next month it'll be the next. And I really love the way they are spreading. This is when we had the big failed thing, expansions that they were going
I forgot
to do.
about that. Yeah,
this is how I imagined expansions would be. This year, our expansion is Elder God Wars, but we're dropping a bit each month, and that's how we're growing it. It's not just bang there. Enjoy, off you go type thing. You've had nothing for 6 months. You get it all on one day, and then you're not going to see anything for another 6 months.
Yeah.
I really think this is a great way to do it. It also gives them time to fix up any little issues. Like there was an issue with Karapak. They got sort of hot fixed within 2 days. There's an issue with the Glaycores at the moment, which they're still working on. But at least, imagine if they dropped 4 bosses and every boss had an issue. How long did it take to sort of address the issues on them all?
Right.
Whereas this way, at least they've got that time. Okay, we can focus on this one because that's the one we dropped and that's the one we're having the problem with.
Guarantee you, if they release them all at once.
The way.
Sorry, go. You finish.
Yeah, it's not great for a podcast.
Right.
But I love the way the game is dropping the updates now. As a player, this is brilliant.
I think it's definitely brilliant from a content perspective for more than one reason, because if they drop them all at once, sure, you'd have it'd be like walking into a carnival with all sorts of stuff to do, but it'd also be like walking into a carnival. There'd be tons of stuff that didn't get polished because they had to release it all at once, and there'd probably be more bugs than having the opportunity to take one boss at a time and play test one boss at a time. So yeah, I think overall you get better quality content when it's done like this.
Yeah.
I don't.
And rumor has it the next boss is actually going to be a skilling boss.
Ooh, see, then that would be within Elder God Wars or just in general? Because that would be great.
Elder God Wars.
Interesting.
Bick, I think, is the next one, and there is the rumor going around it might be a actual skilling boss.
That would be great. I would be so excited for that. I really enjoyed Temperos over on Old School RuneScape. Thought that was a great experience. Reminded me a lot of a mini game that you could kind of work together with people. I would love to see something done in RuneScape 3 that is a bossing experience with bossing loot, bossing risks, but that takes into account your awareness of the environment and your skills. Yeah.
Yep.
This will stretch across a variety of content types, including the release of the dungeon itself. This is an epic war, years in the making, and it will all come to a head next year. We'll also continue our mission to modernize RuneScape, including a project that I'm particularly excited about, improving your player avatar. Over the next year, we will start a journey to deliver an evolving series of improvements to how the World Guardian is represented in game. This is a very complex project with many steps and will be involving you regularly throughout the development as we work to get the look of the avatar just right. You can expect to hear more early next year, but as it's Christmas, here's a sneak peek. So, they could give some much higher definition poly models.
Yeah.
I assume the top left was the old model, and then the full image is what it is now.
The new one, yes, exactly.
It really makes it look like the guy who she told you not to worry about, and then you, and you're the one with
this
all
is
the
great.
Yeah,
This is great. I mean, I love that they're doing something about the player models, but I mean, to me, the actual environment would be something you should be doing more of, especially as you're trying to bring in more players. I mean, you go to Prifddinas, you go to Sentistan, you go to Anachronia. I mean, they look beautiful. And then you go to Karamja.
Right.
Or you go to Ardoin.
How hard do you think it would be to like refit Karamja with like modern graphics?
I think it would take a team probably, to maybe even 3 months.
Do you think that they could take I'm sorry, go ahead.
They have all those assets, your tree assets and all that. All those models now are actually saved and are able to be done like that. So your ground might be the hardest part, but all those actual assets of rocks, trees, all that type of stuff they have. So I think personally, especially as a 20-year-old game, you want to attract new people in, you need to have it look fairly uniform across the board. You can't expect a new player to come in, sit there playing, that content, and even, Lumbridge and Berthorpe and all that all look great. And then all of a sudden they're going to Karamja or Ardoin, and it's got, hang on, what happened to the game I was just playing? This is a different game.
I know. It's like, oh, sorry, we forgot to take old school route. Like, I didn't realize they were part of the same game world. Go ahead. Yeah,
and I know they were saying, but it's going to cost money and it's this, and there's no real benefit other than look. But there is a benefit for people. I don't think they understand how much people sort of get into that look and sort of.
It's immersion breaking.
Immersion. That's what I'm looking for. The immersion in the game is a very important thing, and especially if you do clue scrolls.
Yeah,
it is really jarring. You got to go down to Karamja or down to the Karate Forest or something like that, and then you're over in Anachronia. Well, there's none in Anachronia, but you go to one of the other places. Keldagrim's another area that really needs a good update.
Yeah, that place is ancient.
And I think they should be looking at putting just a team to work on that type of stuff and just get it. You want to have content with it. That's fine. Develop a little quest or even a little spring event. Remember when they did Falador update? No, we had that Falador event. Spring event. Just do a little thing like that. I mean, it doesn't need a lot, but I really think they should be looking not just at player models. They should be looking at the whole game world.
There must be a way, and I'm sure. All right, here's the thing: they made an entire system to generate on the Uncharted Isles, right?
Yep.
Is there not something like some sort of AI that they could use that would take the current map of Karamja and then literally sweep across it using an algorithm, plot out all the points, and then replace all those points with fresh graphics? Can an AI do most of the work and then use point values as to this texture is a tree, needs a tree texture, this texture is a ground, have it manually find the edges where water meets, map those points out so they can be resculpted automatically? I don't know, they managed to make an algorithm capable of fixing my game account based off of meta information. So can't they automate this process as well? Because I remember them saying at one point, lands, like you were saying, ground textures and stuff need to be painted manually because of the angles and stuff that everything meets at. Otherwise, it can look really jarring. So I'm just wondering if that can be automated. Because if you go and use a map editor for a game and you start painting on the ground, a lot of the textures will auto reform themselves based on the changes you're making to the environment. I'm asking a lot here. But it's possible, but it's likely harder than actually doing it manually. You're probably right. Like the amount of effort involved in creating that system is probably more involved than it is to just go and map out the ground. But then you could apply that tool over and over again and get more value out of it. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yes, if you design a tool to do that, then yes, that's right.
Jagex is pretty famous for making their own tools to fix things, and they're really good at it. I mean, they literally made a tool to forensically examine the data going across their server wires, to rebuild and retrace people's accounts in ways that weren't even supposed to be possible.
And they did it in 6 weeks.
Yeah, in 6 weeks.
Really? Exactly.
I mean, granted, it was all hands on deck, emergency, you know.
Yeah, but still, I mean, small. I mean, we say small independent. I mean, you got to admit that's only 400 people, and that's 400 people who are still a lot of them working from home.
Right, disorganized, tired, stressed out people figured out how to do that. It probably is something they will never do. Just a food for thought little experiment there, because I really want to see the game graphically updated. And I really am done reading Mod Warden's words. We're going to move along. This next post here, I don't particularly want to read because it makes me sad, because it didn't bring in a 20-year cape. And this was the 20th anniversary grand party. Did you participate in the grand party? This was what? Back in... When was this?
January. I'm pretty sure I did. I was around then. So
I came back in February, so I did not participate in this. In fact, I went to...
in the Lumbridge Castle. Yes, I did all that.
I came back.
I bought the book.
Okay. Oh, did you? Have you gotten it yet?
No. This is in October.
Okay.
And I bought the big fancy one.
Nice. I wanted. It was like $100 or something, plus another like $80 shipping, which was stupid.
Well, yeah, but to Australia,
to America too. Go ahead.
$100 for that, $80 for shipping.
Yeah.
Or if I spend over $200, shipping was $24.
Huh. So basically, they upsold you.
I bought the album. I bought
I want that
wall
too.
map. Yeah,
I really want that cloth map. Like
all of this stuff. So it was going to cost me $180 just for the book. So I got the wall map, I got the album and all that, and it all cost me like $240. And it's like I got so much more value because the shipping suddenly went down like $60. I'm getting more items.
Yeah,
and a quarter of the shipping price.
Hey, and you end up getting physical things instead of paying it all and just shipping. So that's great.
Exactly.
I really want those things, but I also I don't have that kind of money to throw around right now.
Well, I was lucky. I got my court settlement and such, so...
Good. You've been waiting for that for years. You deserve it.
Finally, exactly, yes. Not what I should have gotten, and my sort of lawyer wanted to sort of...
That's why it took years.
More, but I'm like, exactly, and I said, I'm not waiting any longer. I need to be out of my house. And, I got enough to buy myself a house, set myself up, and sort of get everything where I'm comfortable, so... That's
good.
I was happy.
The most important thing in life that any person can do is own a house, I think.
Yeah.
The security that comes with that is just immense.
Although here the government does have the right to just come and take it off you.
I mean, you can do that here too. If they want, there's a law called eminent domain here. If your land is in the way of something the government wants to build, they can just take it from you and give. They have to give you cash, but they don't have to give you a fair price.
Well, they just give you market value, but market value, what they say is here, is about 25% lower than what the real value is.
Yeah, that's always you always get screwed over in situations.
Yeah,
it's funny because like I bought a house a couple months ago, and I haven't been able to move into yet because I just finished taking care of my grandmother, but we drive up there all the time, and there's just this one stretch of highway, and it says celebrating 50 years. So I'm thinking this highway is less old than my mother. Like, this highway is so new that at some point in time, because I'm looking on either side of the highway, it's only a 2-lane highway. On the other side of the highway, you see campers in people's houses. Like, they straight up just dug a highway right through people's land at some point, like 50 years ago. That must have been a shitty time to be like, Well, you can sell your land for a quarter of what it's worth, or you can listen to traffic for the rest of your life. Like that sucks. But hey, I'm living up in the woods, so it's not my problem. See, once they finish the character model thing, they can use it to have an intern sit down and use it to update the models for every NPC. Then it's just a matter of updating the other stuff. That must be a fun project. Imagine going through every NPC in the RuneScape catalog to make sure that the new player or the new NPC model doesn't like clip with what they're wearing or their actions that they're performing don't like rubber band them or something. Anyway,
all the different outfits that you have.
I know, like that's
a new one.
I can only imagine what that must do to like.
Imagine for people who go for the retro capes and the retro armors and things that they've bought on like the retro armors that they've paid money for on Solomon's store. They have to make sure that retro armor is going to fit that new character model.
Yeah. They do.
That's gonna be a tough,
massive project. That's why it's gonna take so long to do this project, and why they put it off for so long.
That's right. People were complaining. Oh, well, you promised us this last year, and it's 6 months in, and we still haven't seen it. I would be surprised if we see it before June next year.
That sucks, AC. Yeah, right. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see it for another year as well. Asian says, about 15 years ago, they put a highway right through my family's farm. That sucked. Did you have to sell it, or did you refuse to sell it? So there's just a highway right through your land? Like, what happened there? Because that's what it feels like happened up where I'm driving. Because I bought a house literally in the middle of nowhere, practically in Canada, up in Maine. And I just see all these farms and stuff on either side as I'm driving, and I'm like, it looks like they cut a highway right through this person's land. Anyway. Next up here is regarding the RuneScape 20th miniseries, Once Upon a Time. So I assume this became permanent content, but let me see here. The grand party is wrapping up, but our 20th anniversary celebrations are just beginning. Today we announced the first in our year-long mini-quest series, Once Upon a Time. This one's called Foreshadowing. Is this for the Elder God Wars? Is that what this is? Okay.
Yep.
On January 25th, members can embark on a journey through RuneScape's past, present, and future with an exclusive party held by Rolomia at the Blue Moon Inn in Varric. Plenty of famous faces will be in attendance, so be sure to dress your best. That's all the info we can reveal quite now. I think at this point, we're like multiple quests into that series.
We're 3. And this is where I got stuffed up earlier when I said you needed this mini quest for Santistan to do the Archaeology Santistan. It's not for that. It's for opening Santistan and doing the getting into the God Wars and things like that, I believe.
Gotcha. Okay.
Doing the As an Address quest, which opens everything up.
Right. Next up here, another This Week in RuneScape. By the way, that was the name of a podcast for back in the day. When I was looking to name RuneScape Weekly, my first thought was to name it This Week in RuneScape, but there was already a podcast called This Week in RuneScape on Apple, so I named it RuneScape Weekly instead. Fun little trivia fact about the show. Anyway, so this is Activity Pets and Ninjaversary. So it's non-stop anniversaries this year. In this week's news post, we're celebrating... Well, I mean, anniversaries are going to come around once a year, just kind of by definition. We're celebrating 1 year of the Ninja Team with a new mini-quest, plus the player-designated Activity Pets have been released into the wild. I like the Activity Pets. I've been waiting for these. I don't have any of them.
Like some of them?
Yeah, I just like the idea of them, because I don't really have any of them, I don't think. But I might have like the RuneScore one at some level. But it says here, Ninja Turtles aren't the only strange animals high-kicking their way into the game this week. Meet Activity Pets. These player-designed critters were voted into the game by you last year, and our artists have been hard at work bringing the winners' designs to life. So, without further ado, let's meet the new pets. First up is Richie, a fancy magpie with very expensive tastes. If you can help him accumulate 100 million gold pieces, he'll follow you anywhere. Yeah, I know some CEOs that will too. And when you reach... Go ahead.
That's the level I've got at Richie.
Okay, fair. I wouldn't waste, and this is how I see it, is a waste. I wouldn't waste any more than 100 million coins on a pet.
Wait till you see what the other ones are, though.
Okay, I'm looking forward to that. Hastings says they, quote unquote paid us quote unquote market value. Yeah, that's and they did 5 years in court to get a reasonable price. Wow. I knew the guy who did on that podcast. He was a jerk. Fair. And when you reach even higher wealth milestones, he'll change appearance. There are 4 appearances in total. 100 million, 1 billion, 5 billion, 10 billion. Yeah, let me just throw away my entire account's wealth. I don't need it.
And I saw a guy running around with one of them the other day.
I believe it. 10 billion is...
You would never, ever switch off.
Right? I mean, 10 billion for some people... There's like the 1% of the PVM community, 10 billion is not a lot of money. But for like the rest of us, it is quite a lot of money. And like such an amount of money that you wouldn't waste it on a stupid pet. And this is coming from the person who literally just 10 minutes ago was saying how much I can't have enough pets in the game. Beyond that, you can continue to hand over as much as you'd like. Yeah, I bet. You can donate your hard-earned gold pieces to Richie at the Grand Exchange. Richie was designed by Kari Chibi. So I hate that one already. Meanwhile, in the darkest timeline, billionaire pets, right? Yeah, exactly. Welcome, Battle Penguin. I don't like that pet, but I'll continue on here. The next one is Moon, the area pet. Moon is a mysterious creature who wanders the wilds of Gielinor, changing appearance to suit the environment. But be careful, they only appear to adventurers who've proved their local knowledge by completing elite area task achievements. There are 6 appearances in total, unlocked by spotting Moon in the different regions of the world. Here's a quick field guide. So, this changes depending on the day. Monday, they're in the desert, which requires the elite desert tasks. Tuesday, they're in the forest of Taranwin, which requires that elite set task. On Wednesday, they're in ice, up in Fremnik Legion area place, whatever. Thursday, they're in the swamp, which requires Mauritania task set. Friday is the wilderness, which requires the wilderness task set. And Saturday is random.
I still need to get the ice and swamp.
Ice and swamp. It sounds like a George R.R. Martin novel of Ice and Swamp. Moon will roam Gielinor every 2 to 4 hours and will wander about for 30 minutes before leaving. Keep your eyes peeled. I don't hate that one. I mean, I hate the fact that I need elite diaries to get there, but I also don't have a problem with elite diaries. Like, that's...
There's a... I can't remember the name of the French chat, but there is a French chat that calls it out every day.
That's good. So the next one here is Artemis, which is, I think, the clue scroll one? What is this? No, it can't be. Caskets, okay. When completing clue scrolls and opening caskets, you now have a chance to find a golden compass. Activating it will unlock Artemis, the treasure trail pet. This wise and ethereal deer will be your companion as you travel the world and collect clues. Artemis was designed by Wild Kitsune. I like this one. No complaints there.
That's the one I want, but at the moment I'm trying to bank 1,000 of every casket. And then do a big unlock. So I haven't, even though I've got 270 elites done, I've got about 300 easies and about 150 or 160 of the medium and hard ones. Only 26 masters, obviously, because they're a lot harder to get.
Yeah.
But I can't get this pet until I have basically 4,000 caskets in my bank.
That feel like that could take well over a year to complete. That's something.
Yeah.
That's definitely worth videoing, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Hey, does this pet here remind you of anyone? Its name is Zez. They're here to be your boon companion throughout your RuneScape journey. He'll be unlocked once you hit 5,000 rune score, and as you explore the world and complete further achievements, he'll level up alongside you. Zez gets a new appearance at 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 25,000. So get ready to check off those Chivos. I hate it when people call them Chivos. I want to just break your nose.
They're achievements.
I also don't like the word Chieve either. Don't call them Chieves in front of me. Take care. Shadow, thank you so much for stopping by. Love to see you. Anyway, yeah, Zez was designed by Baby Steps. I don't hate Zez. I don't think
1,400 more points and I'll get the top one done.
I think I only have like 7,000 rune score, so even on my main.
Okay.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not, like, you know me. You know me.
Yeah.
I do like one achievement in a set and I'm like, all right, completed. Moving on. I gotta get better at that. Let's see here. Ninja Strike 18, the Ninjaversary. So we're done with pets. Those are the 4 new pets or something. I hate 2 of them. Well, I don't hate 2 of them. I hate 1 of them. I dislike 1 of them, and 2 of them are okay. What are your thoughts? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, I love the Artemis pet. The Moon pet, I don't mind the look of that.
Yeah, it looks
Richie,
cool.
as I said, I unlocked, because I like to unlock things, but I'm not going to put 10 billion GP in. As long as I got 1 of them unlocked. But they'll come around eventually. They're not ones that I've sort of really rushed out to. I have to have that type of one. I wasn't a big fan overall of the player design pets.
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
I thought there was another one. There's only 1, 2, 3.
There's only 4 listed here. I thought there were more too, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So the Ninja Strike team, it says it's been a whole year since Ninja Team began their epic quest to eliminate bugbears and nitpicks all across the game, and they just haven't stopped since. In our 18th Ninja Strike, they're tackling the pesky general quality of life again, and they've also prepared a special surprise. So it's been a year since they started doing Ninja Strikes, I guess. A new mini quest also came out with this update called Total Combat. That's funny.
That was fun.
So what does this have to do?
That was a fun little one.
So this is just a mini quest that I haven't done yet. So listen here, kid. Never mess around with teleportation. Now that the trap telekinesis spell has been invented, we've been receiving strange reports from all over Gielinor, and the latest one is right here in Varric Sewer. Apparently, some turtles were accidentally teleported in from the maw, and the experience has made them a little different. So go and help them out, will you? So just a little mini quest. That's interesting.
And some nice little XP rewards for sort of lower levels.
Achievements. That's fair. I'm fine with the word achievements. Say that again? What did it include?
Nice little rewards for lower levels.
Good. Oh yeah, 10,000 construction, 1,000 farming and magic, and a ninja hood. Cool. So an update on rare items. It says, on January 26th, we posted an update to the rare item changes, including what went wrong. That's always promising. If you missed it, you can see the full details over here. As mentioned in the linked post, today's update includes the promised 15,000 oddments and 15 treasure hunter keys for available eligible players. The limited and current rare items are now also available in the oddment store. Okay, so this is when they discontinued rare item tokens. And then they went and gave 15,000 oddments to everyone who had tokens.
I mean, I was saving up for them, and I think I had like 7 or 8k of them because I like to unlock everything. With what they gave me, I was able to unlock absolutely everything.
Same.
People were complaining, "Oh, we didn't get enough. I'm sorry. You know, the prices that they put those rare items in on the oddment store was more than fair. I thought they gave us too much.
Yeah, I could unlock everything.
The 15k oddments I thought was good. I thought 15 treasure hunter keys was overkill. I would have probably given 5.
I don't see why they even needed to include treasure hunter keys, but I guess
exactly.
That's more of just a consolation.
I think it was just to appease people.
Yeah,
and people still complained, but I thought it was more than fair what they gave.
I like oddments overall. I think it's one of the lesser of the evils as far as the currencies go. I think they overall, even though rare item tokens, there wasn't anything wrong with the system. Having so many different ways to obtain cosmetics can get confusing and archaic. That having a centralized system around oddments where you just rotate out the cosmetics that people may have missed is a much easier to understand system from a far glance, than being like, good. Yeah.
No, sorry. The other good thing is you could earn oddments also at places like the beach.
Hell yeah.
It's something that they can use to do that type of thing. Whereas the rare item tokens, the only way you could get those were on treasure hunter.
Right, exactly. And I thought...
Which is, again, why I think they put those treasure hunter keys in, because people like me who had... When they do those things where you sort of put your favourites on, I always had the rare item tokens on there.
I specifically waited for loot duels to come around and to save my keys for, because you could get a lot of rare item tokens from the ancient caskets, and I thought that was great. You might be right there as far as they may have given those keys as like a sorry you spent a bunch of your treasure hunter keys trying to get these tokens in the first place. I can see that. But, you know, systems change. I think that they did an overall a good thing by switching to this system. Like, a lot of the times, like, for instance, when they changed the loyalty point system, that was very obviously, like, not in the player's favor. This can be argued to be in the favor of the player in the long run. I think it actually benefits Jagex and the player, which is, you know, the ideal situation.
Yep.
Speaking of loot duels, Loot Duels returns. We don't need to talk about that, though. That is probably, if not the most popular, close to the most popular treasure hunter. Because I don't even like treasure hunter, but if Loot Duels comes around, I participate. Like, on my main, and obviously my iron account, because you can't use treasure hunter, I don't use my keys. I have transcended the need for treasure hunter on my main. It comes and goes, and I don't bother with it unless there's absolutely something on it that I really, really want. And that is great. Like, I'm very happy to be at that place, because a few years ago, that was not the case. Like, I was very mad.
You were spending money on those, weren't you? You were buying bonds.
I was dumping all my GP into bonds, and I was trying to figure out how I could make enough money so I could spend money on bonds, so when the proper treasure hunter things came around, I'd be able to buy those things, and because everyone was telling me that's how you really train. You don't train by going and, you know, gaining
actually
XP.
Playing the game,
right?
Fun.
Exactly. You train by bossing, making money, and then going to treasure hunter, spending the money you made bossing on lamps and other random items to then boost your skills. Which, as an old school,
for someone who just bosses, that's fine. But for someone who just enjoys playing a game and you know, having that feeling of satisfaction as you level up and such, that is the worst thing you could do.
Yeah, I mean, as an old school OG player of the game, someone who literally loves the game purely for the skilling, that is the biggest bastardization you could ever make in the cycle of gameplay, is to tell me, this is how you play the game. You go, you kill monsters, you take that money, and then you play gambling. Like, no, that's not RuneScape. That's not the game that I signed up for.
I actually convert a lot of my stuff just to oddments these days.
That's actually one of the only reasons that I would run Treasure Hunter off of Loot Duels, is I convert anything that isn't a star, because at the very least, bonus XP can be stored.
Yep. I don't keep lamps, I only use stars.
Same. Because at that case, then you can go to what's-his-face, Vic, and churn that bonus XP into other things that I do want. So, like, there's a value in bonus XP. There is no value in just giving me straight up XP. Beyond just you're getting me 1 XP closer to never being able to gain XP again, because my account is so close to that tipping point. I don't want to get there any quicker. I'd rather it take 30 years to be 200 million in everything than be 200 million in everything 10 years ago and being, like, trying to figure out what the hell to do. Anyway.
Exactly right.
Patch notes for Ninja Strike. So we just talked about the tutorial combat, general quality of life. Is this just the literal embodiment of the earlier post, then splayed out?
No. It was just basically you were getting a warning going in there. The Doomsayer wasn't giving the warning about going into rock sewers.
Oh, okay.
And just a few little things.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bother. I said I wasn't gonna bother with Ninja Logs unless they.
One of the worst ones that they did, or I mean, a lot of people think it's good, but the Saradoma Owls, Zamorak Hawk, and Guthix Raptor were converted from object pets to interface pets.
Oh, okay.
So if you had them,
that's not a bad thing.
It's not, but like there was one guy who had in his house every pet. I think it was 45 pets of the Saradoma Owl.
Yeah, I saw that. Now that makes sense. I didn't know what he was complaining about because I was out of the loop.
Yeah.
Now, okay.
Now he's got one. So his whole menagerie was just I think it was the Saradoma Owls, and he lost a lot of them.
What are your thoughts on the PVM hub, the Free Max Guild?
Hate it.
Same. Yeah.
I mean, I worked hard to get to the Max Guild, and I don't mind, but I mean, it is so much more powerful than what we get at the Max Guild.
It is. Oh my god! Like, all right, so I haven't like no boss kills at all, except for a few barrows and whatnot on my iron account, right? And you know how difficult it is to get to the barrows with no
Yeah.
quests done and everything. All right, let's just go ahead, get 2 barrows kills, unlock War's Retreat, change the portal to barrows, bam, instant barrows runs over and over and over again at level 90
That's
combat. Like, come on.
Well, from level 68 onwards, I mean, and it's just I sat there and I mean, if they want to do that and have a dedicated sort of combat War's Retreat area, that's fine. But make Max Guild a dedicated skilling area. Let us build like a portable that we can recharge once a week and use for 2 hours or anything like that. I can make, every Wednesday comes around, I can make a portable well that gives me 2 hours or maybe an hour each day. I'm allowed to use it.
Sure.
And then next Wednesday, I can either keep it going as a well or I can change it to a sawmill. Something like that. I should be able to have like a divination workbench put in there. Not divination, an invention workbench put in there. Make that an actual hub for skilling. Because the people who really do go for that max guild, the only reason sort of PVM is maxed was to get into that guild for the hubs.
Right.
Now that they have that down there, then make this a skilling one and give us that option for things like that.
Yeah, I think the PVM hub, my biggest complaint is the barrier of entry is too low.
Yes.
Being that max guild, you need to get in and use the bank and the portals and everything, you got to be maxed. And
you have to have 99 in everything.
Right. So the fact that they moved that out is okay with me, but the fact that you then can just go kill the giant mole like 2 times and then you have the same like privileges as a maxed individual is the broken part in my opinion. Like you should have to have like a base of like 25 kills in every boss or something for that to unlock to that potential.
A minimum 100 boss kills.
Right. A minimum of 100 doesn't matter the boss.
100.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you do 100 giant mole, as long as you've got 100 boss kills.
Right.
Yeah, you've shown that you can kill, and then you can unlock it. But yeah,
and you've shown that you're persistent at your killing, and you need the hub to make it more efficient. Whereas most people boss so casually that those benefits are probably not even taken advantage of. I literally ended up using the PVM hub as a max guild, and just was teleporting there for the bank and stuff.
Yep.
And not even doing combat, just doing...
So exactly, when I started my Iron Man account, the first thing I did was try and unlock ports, so I had that teleport to an easy bank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't blame you. That's a great easy bank. I was trying to do that too until I thought it was 80, and then I realized it was 90, and I got all sad. But 90 fishing is not hard by any stretch of the imagination.
Exactly, yeah, I think that was the one I went for.
Right. Let's see here. So would you, by any chance, be interested in bringing more light to the player avatar refresh project that we talked about a little earlier in the show about? It seems as... This is from the 11th of February, so that post was from, I think, like October or November. So have they made any progress, or are they just trying to keep our interest?
They were keeping the interest. They showed a little bit more, they're sort of getting breasts on the females and sort of showing the men all muscular. Now, after this video, there was a lot of negative feedback. The men, being too buff, the females looking too female, with the big breasts and things like that. They wanted to sort of slim them down a bit, not make the men look so beefy and the women sort of so feminine.
Those triceps are those are some massive triceps.
That's what people were complaining about. It's sort of, they weren't sort of realistic in what expectations are. But to me, your male player is the world guardian. He's an expert at sort of combat and everything. He's a smither and all that. I mean, he's going to have muscles and things. I personally don't really care how the bodies look and such. I mean, most people cover them up with all these cosmetic gear anyway. So
yeah, I agree with you.
Really have any issue?
I mean, here's the other thing, and this is not necessarily an argument, it is merely an observation, and it just seems a little bit silly. The RuneScape community is just so... I think they're just contrarian bitches more than anything else, because like...
It's like they want to complain to complain.
Look at every MMORPG on the market, and I literally mean every MMORPG on the market. Every single one uses hyperbolic like body representation. It's like, it's part of the allure. I'm not saying it's a good reason or a bad reason or anything. It's just very common in video games, period. And it's okay to want to tone it down. I am just surprised that they care, because like any other game that the RuneScape community has probably ever played has had the same issue. And again, I'm not saying it's something that we can't tackle here. I'm just a little shocked, and I really feel like people just like to complain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I have no issue one way or the other. But basically, the end goal was they want to deliver the refreshed masculine and feminine-based avatars now after all the talks that they had. There's going to be 16 masculine and feminine outfits, 62 hairstyles, and 18 facial hairstyles. Now, that is sort of when you create your character. And then obviously you'll buy all your cosmetics and things like that. They'll have to update all those cosmetics. Is that the project update on January 2021 where they had that proof of concept? That's what they're in now. They've got, if you have a look, sort of scan down, they show you all the different sort of body types there, what we currently look like, what the avatar refresh is going to look like.
Look at how shiny the avatar refresh is. Just like, hang on.
All the lighting and such that they can get on them now and things.
I kind of love, like, it looks like they are ready to fuck. Like, it just...
They've been oiled up.
Yeah. This is for, like, this is like a bodybuilding contest or something. I like it. I think it's funny. I think it's exaggerated. That's all. But like, just look at 2001 and compare it. It's like me as a teenager, me now. It's funny. Honestly,
I mean, I have no issue with the way we look now.
Right, I was going to say, the current models actually look kind of stylized and okay to me.
I mean, they sort of updated it all back, sort of 6 or 7 years ago anyway, a bit. But as I said, I would prefer them updating Karamja from 2004 or whenever they built that.
Yeah, I would rather see Karamja looking like something that was made in the past few years rather than having a sexy oiled-up bod.
Yeah. Well, here it is. This is your feedback. So, masculine body shape changes, including reducing the width of the shoulders, feminine body type improvements, better balancing of hand size with the overall model by delivering new tech improvements.
Okay.
So, yeah. They say, masculine body shape, including the width of the shoulders. Female body type improvements is all they said because everyone was complaining about the breasts.
We've nerfed Boobscape. Yeah. So, I mean, again, I don't have a problem with them redoing the player model at all. I don't think it's the best use of our, development time. But
I would have preferred to see the money go into sort of the environment rather than that. But hey, I'm just one person, so they've obviously gone into it and checked it out, and maybe a lot of people, we don't know. They could have surveyed a lot of people, and that's what people sort of wanted,
right?
Because I know they've been talking about Avatar refreshing for a while.
I actually think this was pulled, like maybe even in game at one point in time, and scored fairly high, but not high enough to get to win the poll. And people have been bitching about it for quite some time. I don't have a problem with them doing it. It's just it's expensive, because again, like you said, every single cosmetic has to be tested and. There's new cosmetics. I mean, here's one thing. New cosmetics, at the very least...
Cosmetics are designed around this.
Right. It's all the old cosmetics.
Yeah. All the new cosmetics since, I think I'm trying to remember. I think they said since about June last year have been basically designed around this.
Which is actually why they look like shit on the current models. Apparently. One problem and I actually just saw it on my own character for the first time, is this weird silvery bluish moonlight effect that apparently is a problem with the transparency that only occurs on newer objects, and they say it has everything to do with the fact that the player models are not meant for these objects or something.
No, that's right. There's new,
so
whole new thing ready to come in. So
yeah, I quite look forward to it. Hopefully, it will be here sooner than later, so we can use that graphic budget on something else.
3:15, so I might have to head off after this next one, which is as quest.
That's no problem.
Yep.
I was thinking
someone else.
Well, I was thinking that if we don't, which we might not, we can always stop and resume another day in the future.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, go ahead.
We can do it. Have 2 or 3 shows this week. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
if it works out
Because
better.
this is a lot of content to cover, and I know it's late.
It is. Yeah.
So yeah,
Only because it's Father's Day. I normally wouldn't worry, but because it's Father's Day tomorrow, the kids are coming over and such. I sort of want to. I want to be awake.
I want to be awake for that. Yeah, definitely. That's fair. So yeah, I was thinking like, as I'm looking at this, and I was like, all of our people are like falling asleep, and I'm like, we still have like all these topics left. I haven't
just looking through, and I'm going.
Yeah.
So if we cover Azanadra's quest, because that was, I love that quest.
Right. I'll let you go ahead. Read Alexandra's quest. Read Azanadra's quest. We'll talk about it, and then.
Okay, so basically, Azanadra's quest, which was released on the 22nd of February, is the first step in a new chapter of the Elder God War storyline, and is now playable. Victor Trader come back that week as well, but obviously been and gone. So basically, with Azanadra, he is disappointed. It seems that every attempt to defeat or appease the Elder Gods has failed, and time is rapidly running out. Seren's council grows more complacent by the day, and Ariane has received a vision of destruction, devastation, and doom, worse than anything Gielinor has ever faced before. War is coming. But the best defense is a good offense, and Azanadra has a plan. He needs you to help pinpoint the location of the Elder Halls where the Elder God's precious eggs are stored. Is the beginning of the end, and are you prepared? Requirements for this were 70 Divination, 58 Archaeology, 58 Agility, 58 Prayer, and you must have completed a Vault of the Shadows mini-quest. They also recommend doing Desperate Measures. So, and the blank observation from the Heart of Stone quest is also a very useful item. Again, this was during Double XP live, and I think that was the long one we had where it went from the 1st of March to like the 20th of March or something.
Yeah, I remember that.
In that week. Yeah, it was some ridiculously long one. It was like double XP, double live or something. Yeah, it was absolutely crazy, that one. But yeah, so it was a great little quest where, you had to meet Ariane. Oh, no, sorry, you had to talk to Azanadra, go and find where the eggs are, and spoiler alerts for anyone who hasn't done the quest. It is, and I think everyone sort of knows anyway, it is in the heart of Gielinor. Down there, we go in, we find Ariane, we sort of find the 3 eggs. And obviously there are only 3 eggs now because Jazz turned hers into the Stone of Jazz. Was created from her egg. Ma, obviously, who didn't create a new egg because she was stuck on Frenesque, basically not in her right mind. So there are only 3 Elder God eggs now. And yeah, you just basically go through, find them, have to do a few little things. Great little quest. I really, really enjoyed. 4.5 out of 5 I would have given this one. There's a few little things.
Okay. How long is it?
It took me... I'm trying to remember that one now because there was the other one after it. I think it took me about an hour, this one.
Okay. That's
maybe
pretty
a bit
good
longer
for a mini quest.
Actually, it would have been about, but I read everything. This is a full quest.
Oh, okay.
This is the full quest. Yeah.
Okay.
This is the first of the Elder God Wars quests.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's actually a pretty hefty requirement. 70 div, 58 arc, 58 agility, 58 prayer.
Actually, it might have taken me longer than that because there's actually quite a bit of reading in this one too. The one after that's even longer. I think that took me 2.5, but you sort of read every little thing in it. It's really, really, if you like sort of just have a passing interest in the lore, these are really, really good for lore. So don't spam click it. Read everything, and you don't have to go through every page on the reading things or select everything, but you pick up a lot of nice little tidbits and things of what's going on.
It's always good when they can properly express the story and not make it feel like they're shoving it down your throat just to move along an event,
Yeah,
so that's good. That's good. I look forward to actually doing this quest because it does lead up to the current events. I might even.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back to my main and do some of this stuff.
Yeah,
it'll be easier.
it's stream. I mean, it'll be a great quest to stream.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely want to do more questing and achievement streams. I think those are the two things I'm most interested in doing beyond the podcast. So yeah, this could definitely be a fun little thing to take care of.
Yep. And we get Ariane back in this one too.
Oh, interesting.
So that was good. Yeah.
Cool. Did she die at some point, or what happened to her?
No. She's remember she had to kill I
remember something happened.
In the Heart of Stone, she had to kill that witch.
Okay.
The name started with Z. I can't remember it now.
Okay, yeah. I might have not done Heart of Stone. Let me see. I have so much I have to catch up on.
An easy one. You would have done Heart of Stone. That was a.
Oh, okay.
That was an easy quest. Yeah.
Okay. Let me look it up. Maybe I have. Maybe I haven't. All right. Anyway, I appreciate your time on the podcast. And it's good to have the show back and running. Yeah, it's great to have the show back and running again, you know? It's been almost 2 years, if not longer. Time is a mystery to me. But hey...
The good thing about this, we've ended on a high note with Thazanadra's quest. When we start back on the next show, it'll be on a low, probably the lowest note they've had since June 6, 2006.
Fair. Hang on. Now we can end on a high note. All right. It's great to be back. I'm serious. All joking aside, I'm very happy to have the show back. I'm very happy to be able to bring people the show that they've been asking me to do. I haven't been able to do it. I've been too emotionally stretched thin. Those times are over. New times are coming, and I'm looking forward to being able to entertain again, because that's one of the biggest things in my life that I enjoy the most, is being able to bring people something that they are looking forward to, and are like, oh, a new episode of RuneScape Weekly. I can't wait to download this and listen to it. That is what brings me happiness in life, doing stuff like that. So thank you for coming back after this hiatus, both to all the co-hosts that have been here today and the listeners that have noticed and maybe stayed subscribed this entire time instead of doing the rational thing and going, oh, this is a dead podcast, let me get it out of my feed. So thank you to everyone who noticed a new episode out of the blue in such a short period of time. We will pick up where we left off. I will message you, or feel free to shoot me a message when your next available day is, and we'll work on that. And
basically, living alone now with just the two pugs, I'm pretty much available most days. So whatever's day's easy for you, just let me know a day or two in advance, and I can arrange it.
Radio. We'll probably then pick back up early next week after Father's Day is over. And yeah, well, either Monday or Tuesday, we'll figure it out. Depending on if you have a crazy, Father's Day and you need like a recovery day or something in bed, I understand. So yeah, anyway, that's going to be that. We will be back early next week sometime for another catch-up edition of RuneScape Weekly, and then we will jump right into the current topics, including, recent controversies and whatnot. So I got nothing to plug right now. I'm just happy to be here. You can find me in-game, Mage Byte, B-Y-T-E. That's how you spell Byte. And you can find us online as well, runeweek.com for the podcast. Do a Google search. You'll find my stuff. It's fine. Anyway, that's that. Happy scaping.
Happy scaping all.
All right.
Sure, I forgot you could say happy scaping too.
Yeah, we can say it at the same time. It works.
Oh, okay. Bookmark this page. Add to bookmarks. Done.
All right. And,
beautiful. So I can click it straight in on Monday or Tuesday, whatever day we do.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I mean, I'm definitely available Monday, unless someone tells me like right after the show I'm not. One of these days next week, I'm going up to Maine to work on my new house.
Yep.
But
no worry. As I said, I'm pretty easy now. I can work around pretty much anything. So just let me know what's best for you.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Take care, Pern.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. right. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank everyone on the live stream end for coming out today. This is the first show I've done in like 2 years, and I'm not counting the episodes that I had my other co-hosts do for me while I was indisposed. So it's been a while since we've had a traditional episode of RuneScape Weekly. So yeah, I hope to bring it back to a normal level of production, being at least once a week. Might be an overdrive until we catch up on things. And the reason why I only want to do the show once a week is because I want to do other things as well. I want to produce skilling content, such as questing, and I also want to do other shows that are not related to RuneScape, but will take place on this channel as well. Those remain announced at this point in time. For those of you who don't know, while I was gone, I definitely tried other podcasting projects, but it's a simple fact that I just didn't have it in me. Like my energy levels were so just negative that I would sit down to record, and instead of having the energy that you hear right now, it comes across something more like this, and I'm just like, hey, how's everybody? Like, no one wants to listen to a podcast that sounds like this. Like, I mean, unless it's like Bob Ross painting you something. I could not get the energy because my life was just sucking it all out of me. Not the case anymore. So I can, again, bring things that I love to the forefront. There is an hour-long pre-show. It will be available over at patreon.com/RuneScape for free. It will not be behind any sort of paywall, so if you're interested in listening to the pre-show, there will be a link posted on my social media on how to access that. But again, patreon.com/RuneScape to get to the master record of all of our posts we've ever posted there. And there's free stuff, and there's still some paid stuff. Most of it is now... What I do is I generally put pre-shows on a cycle of like Patreon subs get the pre-show 30 days before everybody else. So any pre-show that we did back, then is long since free. So feel free to go over there if you're interested in bonus content. And that'll do it for me. Thank you so much. Happy scaping.